News, the weather authority. This is a severe weather alert.
All right, hey folks, back again. Short break for us. We got a new tornado warning issued for portions of Harrison County and northern Scott County, and a second tornado warning issued just north of that, including portions that are just outside of our zone, but Pendleton County as well as Grant County tonight. These storms and these warnings go until 1:45 here this morning. That tornado in effect for us there until that time. For that rotation that we were tracking just a couple moments ago, we are going to take a closer look. We might have had some tightening. I can tell just by how the purples are showing up that the storm might be strengthening a little bit as it works into that new zone. And let's take a look here. We've got some tighter rotation definitely showing up here in northern parts of Scott County, about to cross onto 75 just north of Porter at this time. While it's not extremely satisfying, we do have that rotation right here for us into portions of, well, that was poorly drawn. Let's try that again. Into northern portions there of Porter that are just coming close to us here, moving towards 75. Sadieville, you are just to the east and south of this at this time, so we anticipate if that movement is more to the northeast, that will be just north of you, but you got to be down right now. That tornado warning is in play. Everybody within that box should be inside of that. We're talking all up and down 75, even upwards towards Dry Ridge, Williamstown. There's a strong signature, at least, of some damaging looking wind coming through that area, and it's overhead at this time. So now is a good time to get down into that safe space. They've extended this tornado warning all the way out through northern Harrison County, just outside of Cynthiana. But hey, my Cynthiana folks, you guys got to be down and into your safe space as well, because the tornado warning might not be touching you yet, but we have a chance that that severe thunderstorm warning gets extended. There's a chance any part of this line could start to kink and produce some rotation. And as we say it is happening, excuse me, and we've got another severe thunderstorm warning now in play to go along with all of that. Let's take a look at everything here, put it back on the radar, and get an idea of what's to come. The tornado warning, again, is for portions of northern Scott County and northern Harrison County. This goes until 1:45 a.m. This part of the storm moving 70 miles an hour to the north and east. It's really cruising as it comes into the northern parts of Scott County at this time. Back towards Frankfort and Lawrenceburg, the wind, the rain, the loud noise of thunder, and the high winds are working in towards you. Georgetown, they're knocking on the door. They'll be there in just a few minutes, so you need to be down in your safe spot as well. This includes all the way over to Paris, up towards Carlisle, inside of portions of Nicholas County. That severe thunderstorm warning is in play until 2 a.m. And we look back off and we're getting more of these warnings trickling in as we go through. And we'll have to keep an eye again back off to the southwest, where that tornado warning is not quite to Mercer County yet, but it is getting very close. One more update could see that get extended in too. If you're just joining us, it's a busy night here across the Bluegrass. We've got severe thunderstorm warnings and tornado warnings scattered all across the northern portion of the Fox 56 viewing area. We're going to go north, south, and check each one out as we go through, just to get that information back out if you are just joining us. So our main concern for this current point of the evening is in northern parts of Scott County and Harrison County. Now, all of Scott County, including Georgetown to Paris, up to Millersburg, over to Carlisle, and then into Cynthiana there in Harrison County, you are in a severe thunderstorm warning for 60 to 70 mile an hour wind gusts possible inside of the red flashing box here. I know we've got a lot layered over each other, but this is a tornado warning for locations in northern Harrison and Scott County, for where we will see the best rotation and the possibility of some tornadic activity. We're starting to get a little too far away from the Louisville scene, so we're going to try to switch over to the Wilmington, Ohio scene to possibly get a better look at some of this rotation. Let me get down in it here and get a little closer so we can see how things are going. According to that beam, it says that Sadieville is seeing the highest winds right now. Nothing on here that suggests tightening of rotation, but there could be anywhere along this the possibility of a quick spin up. You got to be down if you're in Sadieville. Now is the time. If you haven't already, you got to get the cover as this moves towards places like Barry as well. You guys should be down and in your safe spot as we speak. Moving just a little further north, we see just south of Williamstown some potential rotation there as well. High winds definitely in play. This storm capable of producing winds of 70 plus miles an hour. And I'm seeing something right now I want to get right back to near Sadieville, just north of it. We've got a tight little area of green and red meeting south of Stonewall along the Cincinnati Road there just off of 75. Latest scan comes through. You see how much that jumped? This thing is moving quite quick here this evening. Again, 70 miles an hour to the east. The rotation suggesting that it is now just east of Sadieville, and that rotation is showing up right here where the greens and the reds are coming together. Again, green towards, red away, so that rotation is in that counterclockwise zone, and we're seeing that from the Wilmington standpoint anyway, that is now east of Sadieville. Let me take a look here and see what it looks like as the regular velocity. This is getting pretty far away from both locations, so the readings might be a little robust, but that doesn't mean that the winds aren't going to be that strong. Similar idea here, just not as easy of a look to get. Let's try the Louisville site one more time. And you see how that just looks a little more scattered, a little more broad, not as impressive. So there's nothing here screaming and yelling out at me that this is a tornado on the ground, but the rotation is there, so folks, be in your safe spot. That's where we need to be tonight as we try to check it here from this other velocity reading too. Again, we're getting pretty far away from the radar, so it is probably over identifying the speeds of the winds. It's likely pretty elevated, which also suggests that the rotation is elevated, maybe not so close to the ground. So the idea that there's something on the ground right now is, again, weakened by that thought as we roll into the rest of the tracking of this storm. Now, if we look back, just to see, we got to keep checking in on the rest of our friends here back in Georgetown, places like Frankfort. We're going to just let that update one more time with the scan. We're going to hold it as long as that tornado warning is in play now. Folks in Stamping Ground, you're in the thick of it. Midway, you're about to get the heavy rain. We've got lightning along with this, high winds as well, 60, maybe even upwards of 70 miles an hour. This storm has been sort of pulsing a bit. The pieces that are back in Franklin County and even into Anderson County have sort of slowed down a little bit. Not to say that there won't be more coming in behind it, but probably a lot of heavy rainfall right now, loud thunder, lightning, high winds, maybe some small hail even possible within that. It's moving into Georgetown downtown right now. We are, again, main point here to focus on are the tornado warnings that are cruising through far northern parts of the state. Another one that is trying to work its way into central Kentucky here tonight. Multiple hot spots to keep our eyes on here. Let me grab my phone. I want to see if we've gotten any reports of damage. Now, I do know that this cell that we're specifically watching has had a history of producing some tornadic activity back into Shelbyville or Shelby County, and there was some reports of debris being scattered over the roadways. I just want to see if we've got any reports coming in, any pictures, anything like that. It does look like we've got some more warnings that are being displayed as well, so we'll wait for those to pop up and see what exactly we will be dealing with that. Looks like they've updated that tornado warning, now moving into Harrison County. We've got a new severe thunderstorm warning that does include parts of Fayette County now too. The busy night is just getting going here, folks. We're going to grab the details on this, give you some timing updates when you can expect it, and see what's going on. Now, we do have a rather jumbled mess of severe thunderstorm warnings and tornado warnings, so we will have to sort through some of this. Let me get the ideas and the ratings on a couple of these as we take a peek at what is to happen here. It looks like right now severe thunderstorm warning, the new one, that does include portions of Fayette County as well as far northern portions of Jessamine County, is coming in with 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts as its rating. So that is a sign that there might be some slight weakening to it, but it is moving northeast at 80 miles an hour. So some of these cells, some of these pockets of severe thunderstorms are likely grabbing onto some upper-level, jet-level winds, and then they're just taking off. And they're taking all the energy with it. So as that happens, we get these multiple little segments that you can see. And just bear with me here. I'm going to pop the warnings off just for a half a second here, if it will let me do so. There we go. Being a little picky. Oh, goodness gracious. Here we go. There we are. Much better with that. They've had a lot expire too, so that actually might help us out quite a bit here in being able to see the rest. But what we have are these little lines here. Look at this bowing segment here, and then we've got sort of another one here. So we've got wind firing in the upper levels pretty quick, really pushing the edge of this storm out. And then on the other side, you have the updraft coming in, and that's causing the rotation to take place. And that's why we have these two little hot spots that we need to keep track of. So back down over to this new storm that's just going to enter. We're going to get a timing on this because the rating for this is moving to the northeast at 80 miles an hour. We're talking about far northern Mercer, portions of Anderson County, southern Franklin County. We got northern Woodford County in there. We've got western Fayette County just inside this, just including portions of New Circle Road, western side of Lexington, then very far northern tip of Jessamine County. This is now until 2 a.m. So the next 30 minutes, this severe thunderstorm warning is going to be in play. And again, it is moving to the east at roughly 80 miles an hour. So this thing is absolutely cruising. Let's see if we can get, we might not even be able to get the full speed on it. We're going to stop it there, just get an idea of timing. You can see that it's here at the Fox 56 in less than a half hour. But folks, anywhere else in here, from Lawrenceburg to Versailles, you've got 10 to 15 minutes before that storm knocks in. Now, you should have already been in your safe space because we've had some other severe thunderstorm warnings touching portions of that. But this is going to be moving into places like the Fayette Mall, obviously downtown Lexington here in the next half hour, just outside of our area here as we work through it. So that is one highlight spot. That one has a history of producing tornado warnings as well. Let's get back up to where that tornado warning is currently ongoing, and this strong line of storms is working to the east. This one was moving last time I checked at 70 miles an hour. They've extended the box way out to account for the speed. Fleming County, you'll probably get tapped into on this as this continues, but moving more northeast, so we might see that just skirt the northern portions of Fleming County. We'll see how Jackson's office handles that. They are in charge of you with severe warnings through the night. So this system, let's get back onto the velocity side, see if there's been any tightening. Don't like that one. We need the one that shows us more of the rotation than anything else. Sloppy for the most part. We've got some interference with that. Let's get over to the Wilmington side and see what that looks like for rotation. Okay, so it's a little cleaner. Again, this is far enough away where it's probably shooting a little higher into the cloud. Better chances to see some stronger winds out of that. I'm not seeing anything really jump out at me except maybe this little spot right here where we have just north and to the west of Cynthiana. We've got just a little bit of the reds and greens, kind of a highlight spot, maybe some rotation within that. Something to definitely keep an eye on, but sort of watching that area there, one of the arteries of roadways that jets out to the north and west of Cynthiana up towards Barry. That's the spot I'm talking about right now. Not seeing it tighten up enough to be too concerned about a tornado being down. Let's see what this looks like. Typically what we have is the debris detector. That's probably not going to see everything that I really want to look at. Let me go back here. And let me do this one, the shear. Okay, this is much better. This is the rotation detector. So this is exactly that, trying to find where the spinning is happening within the thunderstorm. That spot I was just pointing out to you, just north and east of Cynthiana, north and west of Cynthiana, that is exactly where our radars are able to pick up a little bit of rotation. That's also why we have the tornado warning in the first place. Again, till 1:45, so we've got about 11 more minutes to hold on to that as it works its way to the northeast at 70 miles an hour. Looking back towards some other spots here, with the radar detecting shear, let's take a look at what else it is suggesting. And you can see a couple other spinning hot spots where we have this strong line going into Anderson County, moving at 80 miles an hour, is likely causing that reading to come up, but nothing tight and significant there. But Lawrenceburg, folks, 80-mile-an-hour wind gust potential, that is dangerous. You need to be down in your safe space. Folks in Versailles, it's not going to be far off from you. Midway to the Bluegrass Airport here in Lexington, that storm's headed our way. Now is the time to get down and get safe. My folks in Nicholasville, probably going to get some wind and some rain here shortly, but the main threat is further to the north at this time as these storms continue to work in. And again, we're holding on to this because we've got, and this is a robust storm. If this thing is cranking out anything higher than 60 miles an hour, that's going to be particularly a point of interest. And then we've also got that tornado warned cell in northern Harrison County. I just can't let go of that here as the night goes on. It's 1:35 here this morning. We've had some activity already coming through. There's going to be some more as we head into the rest of tonight. Just to show you what we're talking about, those folks that have had a quiet night so far, that does not mean that it's going to stay quiet for long. If we take a look here at our tornado watch, it has now been expanded for central northeastern and south central portions of the bluegrass until 7 a.m. You see more tornado warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings well off to the southwest, and the general direction is headed your way. So there's going to be plenty more to come as the night goes on. Our main points of interest, as I've been saying, and quite repetitively I know, but we've got to keep on it because there's some life-threatening situation in play for us here, is going to be that spot up in Harrison County where the tornado warning is now. We typically wait scan by scan. I'm going to double check and see what the speed of that is right now. I'm going to put it back onto our velocity so we can get an idea of where the latest scan is. And this is once again looking like a strong line of straight line winds with some suggestion of rotation in there. Not seeing anything that really stands out incredible in terms of rotation or any tightening of that in the latest scan, which is great news in terms of anything hitting the ground. As I take a peek here to see, actually, we just got a brand new tornado warning that we got to go touch on right now down towards Lawrenceburg. Let me just double check this one for you one time as we push into tonight and the active weather continues. Folks, people in Lawrenceburg, Woodford, Versailles, Georgetown, northern parts of Fayette County, now you are in a tornado warning, and we will need to monitor that as we are going in. Just going to send a quick message here, and we'll get the details on this as we go through. Guys, this is life-threatening stuff here. This is not a night to be complacent or to think, hey, this couldn't happen to me, this isn't that big of a deal kind of stuff. No, this is, these storms that all day have had a history of producing tornadic activity, and we've seen it time and time again. Multiple tornadoes and confirmed tornadoes at that. Now, as we take note of that and we look at what we currently have moving into the bluegrass, my friends here in Lawrenceburg, y'all should still be down. We're not moving anywhere from Lawrenceburg, Georgetown, Frankfort, Lexington. Even if you're not in this warning box, now's a great time to get down. Let's go ahead and just get to our safe space as this stuff moves in, because as things have developed tonight, spinning takes place pretty quick. I'm just looking up the details on how fast this is moving so I can put a tracker on it and we can get an idea of what is to come. Tornado warning for Bourbon, Franklin, Scott County, Anderson, Fayette, and Woodford until 2 a.m. The storm is moving 75 miles an hour. Regardless of if it can put a tornado together or not, the wind, if the storm is moving that fast, the wind underneath it can move that fast, and that can do just as much damage as a straight line wind threat as it can as a tornado. So let's keep that in mind as we watch this closely. I'm going to get down in here now, if it will let me. Here we go. Getting down into, maybe. Here we go again. Last chance. Right into there, Lawrenceburg, into western portions of Anderson County. This is a pretty robust line of strong winds working their way into Lawrenceburg right now, and it's not any sign of really strong rotation with this, but they're likely putting that on there for the fact that we've got some readings that are probably going to be pushing 60, 70 miles an hour. I'm going to get a little bit closer to see what's going on. You see how the pinks start showing up here? When we start getting into pinks, we're talking about speeds that are getting to the dangerous level. Let me see if I can get one of these to pop up. Within the thunderstorm, straight line wind gusts inside of that 74 miles an hour. That's what we're going to be seeing in the cloud that we can see translate to the surface. Lawrenceburg, Versailles, Midway, Lexington, Georgetown in the path of that right now. Again, moving to the north and east at 80 miles an hour. We're going to try to put a tracker on it. Bear with me as I try to draw it on here, and we will get an idea of some timing for us here as round and round of storms continues to move by. That is not going to work. We'll try to draw it one more time. Catch my breath. And again, even people in Frankfort, you guys should be down too. This is a strong thunderstorm, potentially dangerous for sure, as even outside of the tornado warning needs to be included in this thing as it continues to work to the northeast. We're going to get it close. Not bad. Here's what we got for timing. Lawrenceburg 141. It's 140 right now. Got to be down. Midway 150, Georgetown 156. Getting to Rupp, Lexington, Transylvania here by 2 a.m. That's just 20 minutes away. This thing is moving very quickly. Not seeing, again, a lot of the rotation that would suggest that there is some spinning taking place in a significant way, but the speeds of the winds overall are in there. And that's why we've got training storm after training storm running over the same spots. Folks out front of this, Carlisle, Paris area. We're talking about even all the way up towards Flemingsburg. If this continues on this path at this, at this speed, this is going to be to Paris by 2:15. It's going to be up towards Flemingsburg by 2:20, 2:30. So it's not going to take long to get there either, and you've already got severe storms in your neck of the woods. So we're going to be down, we're going to stay down for a good portion of the night here as these storms continue to rotate, to move across the same spot. I do want to get back in on this because it is moving right into Flemingsburg at this time. And we'll see. I'm sorry, it's moving right into Lawrenceburg at this time, and the strongest winds are entering town. I don't see any notches that would concern me at this point. Looking up and down this line, there's still very strong winds for portions near Frankfort. You're right on the edge of that severe thunderstorm warning. Again, this tornado warning is in play for us until we go till about 2 a.m. And that includes Woodford County, parts of northern Jessamine County, Fayette County in it, Scott County in it. And this is what we got to hold on to here as we get into the night. Let me back out. I know we had that tornado warning up in northern parts of Harrison County. It looks like they've trimmed it back, which is good news. It also looks like they've extended a portion further to the north in far northern parts of Kentucky as well. And let's just get a zoom here, and we'll back it out again. Towards places like Brooksville. This is going to be up in Bracken, Kentucky, Bracken County, till 2 a.m. So they've extended a new piece of it. It doesn't look like they've quite extended it into our Robertson County at this time. They might, though, as the rotation continues to work in here for the rest of tonight. The storms back in southern Harrison County near Cynthiana still capable of producing some high wind gusts upwards of 60+ miles an hour. That includes parts of Bourbon County, northern Bourbon County, and portions of, Nicholas County until 2 a.m. But it does look like this storm that's trailing, the main one we've been focusing on here, is starting to steal some energy, and it's becoming a bit more of an important storm in terms of the speed, in terms of the rotation potential, and in terms of the damaging winds that we could see. Just to kind of reset and see how things are going across the entire area, really our main focus has been around the Lexington Metro and to the north. Again, this line has been oriented from a northeast to southwest tilt to it. And down in Bowling Green, they've got a tornado warning and a severe thunderstorm warning, but all our folks in southern Kentucky have been quiet so far. Even places in Madison County, Boyle County, and Garrett County, there's not been much that you're going to see at this time. We've got more storms trailing in behind it, but the potential for your activity is still going to be pushed closer to, say, 3, 4, maybe even 5 a.m. as the storm comes in. Tell you what I'll do. Let's get a look at what the radar looks like for the future here in the next hour or two, as our future radar product of Barron that we use here is going to simulate what these storms are going to look like over the course of the next couple of hours. I believe if I just press play here, it should go through. That line that has that 80-mile-an-hour potential to it comes in. Look at a new line develops. The one that's in Bowling Green is going to try to get to places like Boyle County, might even come hit Fayette County again, closer to 3:30 to 4 o'clock. So while it's quiet for some spots now, we're not done yet. And you notice with each one of these, they all have a notch, a notch, a notch, a notch, some bowing, a notch. The rotation aspect stays there. Again, we're holding on air for us full time here because we have a tornado warning that is working into portions of the metro into tonight. We're going to get back over to it here in just a moment to see what we can expect with that as it works in. Severe thunderstorm warnings to the north and east of Lexington and downtown. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning that's just inched into Fayette County, but the bulk of our activity is working through Anderson County and southern Franklin County right now, and as well as in northern parts of Harrison County, trying to push into Robertson County with portions of Bourbon, Scott, and other portions of Nicholas County getting in on some of the high winds and the heavy rain that is expected here with this setup. Again, we have tornado warning active, so we are on, we are live, we're staying here, and we're trying to keep track of how things are going. So back down to Lawrenceburg from Frankfort, to Lawrenceburg, we've got this jetting little line. Again, what's probably happening in this instance is we've got updrafts coming in this direction, high-level winds coming in behind, and that's actually causing this portion here in the center to bow just a little bit, and you get that rotation in there. It helps fuel it. It helps get some of the spinning going, and it's where we're going to see the most dangerous portion of this storm right along the front edge. Let me get down into it one more time here because it's still moving into Lawrenceburg at this time. Next scan just came through and we've got that line coming in. This is where we're going to see again the strongest winds along the front edge. Now there may be a little notching here we have to watch. I don't see many other spots that have it at this time, but we'll have to go over and see what the velocity reading looks like again to get an idea. So clearly straight line winds, no doubt. 70+ miles an hour, not out of the question into Lawrenceburg right now. Versailles, it's knocking on the door, just a couple more minutes, it'll be there. It's in Frankfurt right now as well. Let's get over to the storm relative and see if we can find any rotation within this. And again, it doesn't look like there's anything tight in terms of rotation with this storm at this time. Pretty much right outside of Lawrenceburg, just to the east, is where we're seeing maybe a little, but it's pretty loose for the most part. And it doesn't look like it will produce much more unless we get another scan where things tighten up. So that's what we're keeping an eye on here tonight. Again, that tornado warning in Anderson County includes parts of Woodford, northern Fayette, southern Scott County, and the very far western edge of Bourbon County here until 2 a.m. 15 more minutes to see how the National Weather Service will handle the extension of that. And as we say it happens, they've trimmed the back edge of this now. Again, to likely cover where those strongest wind gusts are out on the front edge of this storm. I'm going to sneak off again just to see if there's been any updates from the National Weather Service on what their thoughts are. While we do that, I'm going to take a peek just outside of our tower cams here, both in Paris and in Lexington, just to see what we've got going on. Here's a live shot of downtown Lexington, just outside of Chevy Chase. Looks like the rain has started for us here. Lightning, frequent lightning, some thunder. Haven't heard any while we've been on air, but we are certainly keeping an ear out for that as these storms move in. Just checking to see the latest updates. The tornado warning continues, so there's no intentions of letting that go at this time. Nothing that I see on this camera that is really stunning at this point. Let's see if the Paris camera looks like it's down, so we'll go back to the radar and get you back on with what that looks like here into tonight. No updates in terms of that. Let me back this out so you can see. In fact, we're starting to see some stronger winds already make their way into Versailles at this time, and suggesting that there is also some working into portions of Scott County here. This is the velocity reading. I want that one. Let me check one more here and see what that looks like. It doesn't look very good on that one. So this is our best bet for seeing if there's any rotation. Okay, so like this is again the same situation we were talking about. We've got a line of red, but we've also got these grays coming in here. When we get these little notches of gray in here, if they can start to intensify, that's where we're likely seeing any kind of rotation. Put it back on here with the shear marker for us, and we will be able to see exactly what that looks like. I got to go from the Louisville scene to get to it, and here it be. So there we have the rotation. So we have weak, we have strong, we have extreme. This is showing up on the weaker side. The lighter the green, the closer to the red we get, then it starts to suggest something a little bit stronger. Right now, that rotation where the leading edge of this storm is and where likely the strongest winds are happening is about to enter the Versailles area and even up towards Midway. So if we zoom in just a little bit more so you can see along between 62 and 60, we've got the best rotation, we've got the strongest winds, some tightening even, maybe some kinks in the line there just to the south of Versailles, south and west along 62 pointing towards Lawrenceburg, some of the tighter rotation. Let's get back on that on the velocity reading and see. So that's where we're seeing the best velocity reading too, is right in this area right here, just to the southwest of Versailles. We can actually even get a little bit closer to see where that is. Some stronger readings there in Midway. You're likely seeing some gusty winds in your neck of the woods as well. Biggest concern areas here, again, doesn't look great for rotation by any means, but Milner to Woodford Village there, Versailles, that's where we're seeing the strongest wind gusts all along this line really is going to see the biggest threat. We'll reset one more time here, see what is going on. I believe that if we go back and check, they allowed that tornado warning to expire for northern Harrison County. Good news there. Still dealing with the severe thunderstorm warning for Bourbon, southern parts of Harrison County, and to the north and western portions of Nicholas County here, with the rating of 60 to maybe even 70-mile-an-hour winds possible, but this does look like it's turning more into rain and weakening a bit. Of course, It's a little bit better and a little bit closer in terms of radar on the Wilmington scene. So showing that one. Good sign there that might be a downtick in the intensity of that portion of the cell. The tornado warning with that system and that strong little notch is moving further to the north and east. But we've still got the tornado warning that's in play for us here from Lawrenceburg up to Georgetown, portions of Fayette County. So we're sticking with you guys as this comes in. A couple more minutes and it will be in town here in parts of Georgetown. Some of those stronger winds are heading right towards you. So I'm going to double check the speed rating on this. I think it's still moving at 80 miles an hour. Last time I checked it was. They did make an update since then though. And we do actually have a Mesonet report of a 58-mile-an-hour wind gust in Harrison County near Barry. That is a confirmed severe wind gust for us there in Barry. That's where we had the severe thunderstorm warning and the tornado warning. So that is a good indicator that this is a severe storm, and it is confirmed. Same with portions over in Simpson, Kentucky. They had a 55-mile-an-hour confirmed wind gust for us. That storm that is moving into portions of Franklin, Anderson, Jessamine, Fayette, Woodford, and Mercer County, that is still rated at 70-mile-an-hour winds. We've talked about it about 6 or 7 times. It's that front edge of the storm that is producing that possibility for us of those 70-mile-an-hour winds that does just as much damage as a tornado. I'm going to look up and try to find this tornado warning here and see where the speed was going on that. I think we could take the storm warning itself. Here we go. And it is moving still to the northeast. Remember, last time we said 80 miles an hour. It slowed down just a bit. Now moving 75 miles an hour to the north and east. As we continue to track that storm here tonight into Woodford County now, Versailles, folks, you guys got to be down. This is knocking on the door for you. As we speak, Georgetown, you are just a few minutes away. We're going to throw another tracker on this. Again, not seeing tight rotation. This looks like more of a straight-lined wind problem, but the reason that we have the tornado warning on it as well is because when we get these storms, with the rotation that we've been seeing throughout the day, the rotation we can see within it now, it could quickly rotate, spin something up, drop it down, pick it up in between scans even. It could be that fast, and scans come every 1 to 2 minutes. That's the kind of situation we're dealing with here, and it's knocking onto some higher populated areas in the Lexington metro, so we follow closely. Let's take a look now. Versailles, it's right overhead. Georgetown, you're starting to catch some of the edge. Get down, get safe. Lexington, you should already be there as well. I know that not everybody in Fayette County is in that box, but if you're around New Circle, maybe even a little bit further out than that, along 64 to the south and to the east of downtown Lexington, hop into the safe spot. Winds can travel, and they could get to you as well, so we want to make sure that we're ready for that. We're going to try to get another tracker on this. I do want to flip it back to the velocity side so we get an idea of what is happening here. And you can see, again, just some slight potential for some notching, but all along this edge is where we're seeing the strongest wind gusts with this. Let me flip it over this, a little bit of a better reading with the storm relative velocity. It was saying that the winds, actually the strongest of them, have now just moved past Versailles, but Georgetown, they are coming into your area as we speak. So this is the main threat for us here into tonight, that tornado warning. Again, until 2 a.m., so we got 6 minutes for this warning to stay in place. We'll see how it progresses. We'll see if they decide to extend it. I would imagine at least a severe thunderstorm warning. This doesn't look like it's weakened much. So if they don't extend the tornado warning, expect the severe thunderstorm warning to kind of encompass the speed of this thing, moving 75 miles an hour to the northeast. That's no slow storm by any means. That'll be working the opportunity for some of those wind gusts down to the surface. The only good thing I see about this is that it might be trying to break up a little bit. Once it starts getting a little scattered out in front, it could be losing some steam, which would be a good sign for a weakening trend overall. But again, in the instance of we've got more storms coming, there's going to be more opportunities for us here into the night. Let me get a good position on this and see if we can draw out another map. Again, it's moving, it's chasing the storms out ahead of it, so it will likely slow down. It's not going to be able to run through these, might absorb them. They might join together to get something going further to the northeast, and it is sort of becoming a bit more jumbled in terms of its its form, so we'll see what it does. But this was if it stays moving 75 to 80 miles an hour, some of the timing that we would see and the locations that when we would see them. You're talking about Paris by 2:11. Again, it's 1:55 right now, so you got about 15 minutes before it's there. Lexington 2:04, less than 10 minutes. Okay, the winds are going to be rolling through. We'll keep an eye on how that progresses here. Of course, as we get into Georgetown, it's now. It's here, and you need to be down and be safe because that storm is working through with those possibilities of 60 to 70 plus mile-an-hour winds. Again, that tornado warning, we got to hold on to it for just about 5 more minutes here as the night rolls on. It doesn't look like we have any other new warnings in place. We got that warning that's in southern Harrison as well as portions of northern Bourbon and Nicholas County that is likely set to let go here at 2 a.m. So we'll keep an eye on how that plays out. I'm just going to zoom out and just see what's coming next. So our friends in southern Kentucky, you can see, we were talking about this earlier when we had future radar flying across the screen, that stuff that was down in Bowling Green was going to make it up into central parts, including maybe areas that haven't seen much yet as we get closer to, say, 3:30, and we've already got a warning box just tucked up next to Casey County. And again, every single one of these storms that comes through is going to have the opportunity to throw in some spin. So we will be needing to watch that. Even if all of this goes away for now, we'll probably have to hang on to see how that progresses as it comes in for the rest of tonight. So just another full update for you. Again, if you're just joining us or if you've been watching for a while, I know I've been repeating myself quite a bit, but we do have that tornado warning coming right into town. We got to keep close on that. I can't really give you much else except to watch each scan that comes in and talk about the severe element even into tomorrow morning. No time to get complacent. This goes till 7 a.m. The tornado watch includes almost everybody except our far southeastern counties and communities here where these storms won't likely reach until well into tomorrow. We could talk about the forecast a little bit. I want to get back to that in just a minute because it does look like it's sort of petering out slightly. But as we work into tomorrow, there's more opportunities for severe weather. We've still got a level 2 risk for scattered severe storms throughout the day. This includes the morning round as we're expecting this to come through past 7 or 8 o'clock with some opportunities. But the front that we're seeing is going to move south overnight into tomorrow, but eventually lifts back to the north. And as it does so, we could get some more thunderstorms, some with the potential for some spin to cut underneath that front again. And we could be talking about in this zone more of this action as we head into tomorrow night. So there's still a lot to keep an eye on as we go through the next couple of days. And as you know, the rain forecast for us here is going to be the next piece. The flash flooding is going to be a possibility for us over the course of the next several days. We're still looking at anywhere from 4 to 8 to 12 inches in some spots in western Kentucky of rainfall really now through Sunday afternoon or evening. So we can really actually say in the next 5 days or so that is going to be a possibility to also get into. Well, let's jump right back in to that tornado warning that's currently ongoing. It does look like we are still following that closely here as the night rolls on, and it is starting to move closer into Fayette County. In fact, it is just edging into Fayette County as we speak with those strongest wind gusts right along the edge. Georgetown back to Versailles, still getting hit hard midway, right in the thick of it. Could possibly even see maybe some hail out of this storm as it drops its way through. But just on 421 into Fayette County, coming out of Woodford County, we're dealing with those strongest winds on the front. Good news. Chief Meteorologist Justin Logan is now here, and he will be jumping in to help us out here, track these storms as we get all the way into the overnight, of course, into your morning tomorrow, your morning commute, a potential impact from some of these storms as well. So as we go through here and look, Georgetown, it's obviously right on the door. Lexington, it's not quite hitting us yet, but the winds are just right there. Again, the tornado warning until 2 a.m. So we've got 1 minute to see what the National Weather Service is going to do next. Again, I'd be surprised if they didn't extend at least a severe thunderstorm warning at this point, with winds still looking like they could hold 60+ mile-an-hour gusts. And so we'll see how that plays out. We want to be here on air live with you. As we say it happens. There we go. The new severe thunderstorm warning is now in place. So they'll likely let that tornado warning expire. Same with the other severe thunderstorm warning that's back in Anderson and parts of Franklin County. But a new blanket warning is out now, and it includes downtown Lexington in Fayette County for those wind gusts that are likely pushing 60, 70 miles an hour. The storm itself moving 70 plus miles an hour to the northeast. So as our new scans come out, we'll be able to track that. Georgetown, I bet you right now, if we go out to Lexington, things are going to start to look a bit more aggressive, especially because we're pointing towards that storm. And we've got a nice little storm edge that we can see. This is likely that leading edge of the storm. Now, we've already had some rain. There's some lightning for us. The wind gusts following right behind. That leading edge is where we will see the strongest potential of those winds as we come through. In fact, we even have what might be the leading edge of the storm, giving us a little bit more structure of potential shelf activity. Again, haven't seen a ton of rotation out of this, so that concern, not great, especially when it's dark. Can't jump on this cloud structure too much in terms of a good factor of what we can see. But I'll tell you what, this is a good leading edge, and we're expecting those stronger storms to work into Fayette County as we speak. Now again, when we look at velocity from the Louisville side of things, it gets a little further away, can get a little messy. So we flip over to storm relative, and now we get this idea. Now, I'm seeing something here that I'm not too fond of in Scott County, as well as some portions just in northern parts of Fayette County here this evening. And you can see, if we try to get a little bit closer, I see in greens and reds meeting together, a sign of rotation right here, just to the north and east of Georgetown. I see 25 here and 62 kind of in that little button. There's some rotation happening right there. Possibly get a tornado warning out of that. We'll see if they jump on it or not. Again, it doesn't look very tight, doesn't look very great, but these storms have had a history of producing quick little tornadoes that drop and come back up in a quick way. So my folks there in northern parts of Scott County, just south of Sadieville, heading right towards Cynthiana, although a good bit away still. I need you guys down in your safe space if you haven't been already. We've had tornado warnings in place, so I would imagine that you've heeded those warnings, and we've got the, of course, severe thunderstorm warning that's in play for that too. So talking about it, we've got it right now in northern Fayette County. This severe thunderstorm warning goes until 2:30 a.m. Expecting those to come in to Bourbon County here. That warning still till 2:30. A new one for our folks in Nicholas and Harrison County. The entire counties are inside of this as this notch of storms comes through. And my folks right now in Fayette County, in northern Lexington, in fact, northern sides of New Circle, between the Bluegrass Airport and downtown, there's a nice little signature of what could be some rather strong winds poking into the inner city here in just moments as we go through. We're keeping a close eye on that. I want to get one quick reading, and then we will head over to Chief Meteorologist Justin Logan to get his thoughts on what we're seeing here tonight. He's just joining us now with that update. Just wanted to poke at this. 46 miles an hour, the newest scan coming up, erasing that. Justin, what are you seeing on your side of things?
Well, on the leading edge here, Justin, of the storm as it's going into Scott County here, you can see Scott and really on the Scott and Bourbon County line, where we have some of the reds and the greens coming next to each other. There is still, there's not a tornado warning left on this. It is just now a severe thunderstorm warning. But on the front edge of some of these stronger winds, when you get a line of storms or a squall line like this, you can get a quick spin-up tornado on the front edge of that. So whenever we want everybody in Scott County and over even into Bourbon County still, and even into Harrison County, to be in the lowest floor of their home, all right, an interior room away from windows until this storm passes on by, all right? We're going to keep an eye on that. So places like Centerville, we're looking at some of the strongest winds just to the west of you, coming right through Georgetown now, through Stamping Ground, even up to Sadieville, but the strongest winds here are in the heart of Scott County, right into Georgetown. This is moving due east, really, at a rapid speed, and we are looking at winds. If I can query some of these numbers, again, these are radar estimates, but again, 50 plus miles per hour, 63 over there near Stamping Ground. So this is why they obviously issued the severe thunderstorm warning. Let me switch over to a different radar because we're looking from two different perspectives here of this line of storms that's marching on off to the east. All right, so you can see on the normal radar view, which is what we would normally show you at home, is an intense line of some very heavy rain that's moving into Masterson Station now. It's moving over into the west side of Lexington, out Versailles Road, over toward the Bluegrass Airport. It's working its way up toward Spindletop, and from there, as we mentioned, to Georgetown, over to Newtown and Oxford, and over into portions of Harrison County, southwestern part of the county there. The strongest portion of the winds, though, is right in Georgetown and on the leading edge of this. Let me look at a couple of other features that we show you here. That we often look for on the radar to see what's inside the storm, all right? I don't think there's a huge hail threat out of this. This is mainly a strong straight line wind and, yes, damaging winds, maybe even a spin-up tornado, but for sure a lot of lightning and heavier rain. Let me go back to your normal view. I want to look at our shear product here. On the leading edge of this, you see how we have this brighter shade of reds, at least close together to the green. So what we're looking at are winds that are going away from the radar and toward the radar next to each other, all right? So this is not what I would consider tight circulation, but still it's close enough by that we could get a spin-up tornado along 62 or along 460 coming really just on the Bourbon and Scott County lines here. Same story as you're getting up toward the Bourbon, Scott, and Harrison County line as you're going up 62. So that's going to be taking you over into Harrison County. Let me look a little farther off to the north here. Another little batch of potentially on the leading edge of this. You see here where we have brighter shades of green and red next to each other. This would be into the southwestern part of Harrison County. Let me see if that matches up with where we have some of our shear. It's in that zone. So anywhere from western Harrison County rather, and western parts of Bourbon County, that would include Centerville. That's going to get up into, also it's going to get up into Leesburg. It's also going to be getting very close to Lee's Lick there. Let me clear off the circle. Some of the roads there, there's Cynthiana Road, so also known to many of you as US 62. That's going to take you into Cynthiana. Farther down to the south is Georgetown Road or 460, and here is Hill Road. So right outside of Centerville, going north from Hill Road up to Russell Cave, up into portions of Broadwell, the Broadwell community, which is there in Harrison County. Again, some broad circulation, but still biggest concern there is definitely for some straight line winds and very heavy rain, all right? That goes without saying. If I turn the lightning on, I mean, there's a lot of lightning. So it's an intense thunderstorm, a severe thunderstorm that goes all the way down even into Fayette County. Let me look inside the winds inside of Fayette County right now, see if we have anything other than just strong straight line winds. Very broad, as you can see right here in the north side of Lexington. That's going up, let's see, this is on the northern loop and right along where you get I-64 and 75, where they merge together, northern part of the county. Very broad rotation there. That's going to be up smaller areas. So this is up Russell Cave toward the Maddoxtown community, Dairy Road. Now, that's also going up Newtown Pike. The strongest part, really, of this entire thing is coming through Scott County right now, where from Georgetown eastbound, some very strong winds, and right on the leading edge of that, we could still maybe up there into southwestern Harrison County, south of Cynthiana, we may get a brief spin-up tornado, but not see anything that's super strong.
No, and J-Lo, we also got a new severe thunderstorm warning for portions of Garrett County, including portions of Jessamine County, and back into parts of Mercer County here. A new little cell has redeveloped in behind this, and we've been talking about it a lot tonight. This general line of storms working from a northeast to southwest orientation, with what we have is really this sort of updraft coming from one direction, maybe more of a southerly or a southeasterly direction. Then we've got the cold front pushing behind it, and what that's causing is a bunch of these little notches that start to come up within this storm system, and it's causing another cell to thrive in that shear environment, that rotation of the winds throughout the atmosphere. That's where these thunderstorms really hang on to. So new severe thunderstorm warning there for us in portions just to the south of where those stronger storms were. Harrodsburg, you're in line for yet another round. Another thing here, we've got a little bit of a tail on this one. So the potential again, the rotation, maybe a quick spin-up tornado, not out of the question, towards Harrodsburg here within the next couple of minutes. Nicholasville is within this severe thunderstorm warning now as well, and it will work to the north and east. The general storm motion we've been seeing a lot as cells have been taking off is north of 60 to even 70 miles an hour with their general speed. This one might be moving at that pace as well all over the place. These storms have been going anywhere from 50 to 70 miles an hour plus. So it's going to be moving in within the next half hour or so. But this severe thunderstorm warning is until 2:30 a.m. It includes most of Jessamine, including all of Nicholasville, Harrodsburg, and most of Mercer County. And then just the northern parts of Boyle County there outside of Danville. You guys are inside of that as well. Time to get to the safe space if you have not been there already as this storm comes in. I want to take one peek also at the velocity reading of that to see we do have some broad rotation here. Again, Justin, you can probably see it too. Some greens and some reds meeting together. It could be a quick spin-up opportunity within that. I mean, we've got strong signatures in the pink here, suggesting that there's some strong winds coming in on the backside, and then, of course, the green going a bit towards, so a little tighter look. It starts to go like that, but again, it's not very close together. When green and red meet in a big way, that's when we start to see concerns. We'll have to see how that scan progresses, but of course, it's moving in. Yeah. You have something, Justin?
Yeah, that storm that's back in Cynthiana, in the last few scans, we've been watching it kind of go back and forth. At least some rotation starting to tighten a bit on the front edge of this line of thunderstorms right on top of Cynthiana right now. You can see where we have some of the warmer shades of reds and kind of pinks next to some brighter shades of some green starting to go next to each other. This is coming right into the south side of Cynthiana. There's not a tornado warning on this, but still severe thunderstorms can spawn tornadoes quickly, all right? So we want to treat this seriously, all right? So everybody there within Cynthiana, go into an interior room away from windows on the lowest floor of your home until the storm passes by. Because I want to show you that we can look at the rotation tracker on this particular radar for the last hour. And you can see how this track has kind of gone off and on as we went through time, right along, let's say, going up US 62 and then into Cynthiana. So as we speak right now, there is some broad rotation there, and we want to treat that yes, we could get a spin-up tornado to happen at any moment. I'm not seeing any damage out of that. Some of the strongest winds that we've seen so far have been back over into Scott County, but that now is crossing over into portions of Harrison County. Definitely torrential rain. If there's a tornado here, you're not going to see it. I mean, it's going to be rain wrapped. Yeah. So this is not a time that you need to go outside and try to look, oh, can I see anything happening? Nope, it's time that you need to be indoors and away from windows in the lowest floor of your home until all these storms pass. And on the whole leading edge of that, we have storms that you can see, even an uptick back here towards Centerville, just off to the south of that. If you look anywhere along this line, we can often get quick spin-up tornadoes on these squall lines. You get the winds that start shifting a bit, and boy, you can get to not only straight line wind potential, but maybe a quick tornado with little lead time. That's why we've been telling you all along, yeah, that is really tightened up. So everybody watching us right now in Bourbon County, Centerville specifically, Centerville over to 460, going all the way into Paris. This is going to be moving your way. Let me put a movement on this in the last 1 hour, and I want to show you how this is progressed. It's moving more northeast, so not easterly. The area of rotation, see it in the last couple of scans, how it's ticked up there right on Centerville. So this is going to be going at a combination of Russell Cave and Georgetown Road, which is 460, and then going more northeast. So if you go northeast of Centerville, this is going to be taking you up again Russell Cave, but also Hawkins and Cummins Road, then up toward Clay Kaiser, and then from there that's going to be going over toward Jacksonville and Ewalt Crossroads. So if you know anybody, obviously in Bourbon County, if you know anybody over in Harrison and even into Fayette County, if their phone hasn't woken them up yet from the alerts that come in, go ahead, give them a call, make sure that they're awake and they need to be in their safe place, because as that new scan just came in, look what's happening here. We're actually starting to see that uptick just a bit back to the south. So this is Clay Kaiser, this is Russell Cave Road, this is Jacksonville, and this is also toward Ewalt Crossroads. That's going to be coming off to the northeast. It looks like my computer has frozen up here.
Yeah, we've got a new tornado warning too, back off where we were talking about before in northern parts of Mercer County. That circulation is tightened up. Folks in northern Mercer County near Harrodsburg, as well as over towards Nicholasville, Wilmore, and northern Jessamine County. You guys are now inside a tornado warning, and this covers all the way to downtown Lexington into Fayette County. Seeing some decent rotation with this, a tornado warning now in play for us. If you are in Nicholasville, if you are in Lexington, Harrodsburg, even Versailles, you got to go ahead and get down and get in your safe space. Our warnings are going off on our phones here for us in Lexington. That is causing that. We also have some alerts that look like they might be coming in on our in-station TVs. That's how serious this is getting for us, folks. We have that severe tornado warning coming in now. This is until 2:45. It is just radar indicated at this time, but we can see it right here on our velocity reading. Hopefully, Justin can get us a speed on this, and then we'll throw a tracker. Do you have National Weather Service chat up over there, Chief, by chance?
Hold on, pulling that up here.
No problem there. Here's our rotation as we look at it, though. Again, just north of Harrodsburg. Let me get down and into this. Again, folks in Nicholasville, Lexington, Versailles, you guys are all right in this tornado warning. We need to get right down in on here and see how this plays out. North of McAfee, Ebenezer, Oregon, just reading off some of the names that pop up on our list, this is where our strongest rotation is. Now, again, not incredibly tight, but certainly enough to prompt that tornado warning. And in a couple of different spots on this, we have that opportunity too. Let me flip it back from the regular velocity to storm relative, and you can once again see that rotation. And in fact, in one spot here, it does look relatively on the tighter side of things, just to the west of Louisville Road, south of Selvisa, over towards, again, south of Oregon Road there. In between those two locations, our tightest rotation is likely here, and we're seeing it in just that vicinity as we go through. So that's where our strongest rotation is at this time. And again, the storm moving quickly. I bet you in the next scan, it's going to kind of make a jump. So once more, inside of a thunderstorm, heavy rainfall in there, no chance to actually see that. Don't go looking for it. Get down into your safe spot. Now's your chance. Now is a good time to tell you what, we'll throw a general tracker on here and get an idea.
Northeast at 65.
65 miles an hour, and that's the speed we've been seeing a lot of these storms get moving at here for us tonight. So I'm going to push it off over there. We'll put a tracker on it here. I'm going to do this one just so we can get a better glimpse of it. And we'll get to the northeast at 60 miles an hour. Stretch it to there and get an idea. Again, this is really, you can push this out a bit wider, but overall, we're looking at moving into these towns at these times, moving into places like Nicholasville around the same time, 2:36. It's 2:17 in the morning right now. Tornado warning for Fayette County, Jessamine County, Southern Woodford, and Mercer County, and it's moving at 65 miles an hour to the northeast. That puts it in downtown Lex, if it holds together, as early as 2:36 a.m. No better time to get into your safe space than right now. We are going to be needing to keep this and hold this as far as we can go with this tornado warning in place and tightening of the rotation there. Certainly a possibility that something quick spinning could take place. Latest scan just popped up there too for us. Chief, do you want to take a closer look at that, give us an idea, or you need me to keep going on it here?
Yeah, I can. Let's look back at that. So we got this. He was covering the one storm that is coming out of Mercer County,
right. Yep.
And that's lifting off to the northeast, and then along the whole line here, definitely torrential rain and a lot of lightning, but still some strong, potentially damaging winds still going through Harrison, over into Nicholas, and back over into Bourbon County. It was trying to get our home view camera pulled up in Paris, though. We'll effort that coming up in just a minute so you can see just how intense the winds are and the rain, too, coming into town there. Lots of lightning, but that's kind of backed off a bit with that storm that's coming through portions of Bourbon County right now. So that's weakened, at least the lightning intensity has. Let me look back inside the thunderstorm here at the winds as we're approaching, coming out of, again, Mercer County into Woodford County right now, where they issued, again, the tornado warning, still along that whole kind of leading line. This is definitely still a strong signature to me for more straight line winds, and we can get spiraling along that to quickly spin up a tornado. You can see when you look at the storm relative velocity that there is a bit of the red next to the green, but look on the whole front edge of that. Look at all those bright shades of green. I mean, that's where you're going to be getting some straight line winds along that, for sure 60 that could go up to 70 miles per hour. And that's what's moving off to the northeast here at 65. So we'll put a track on the front edge of that there, and I'll put on the whole line in that zone so you could see what we're talking about. Already going into southern Woodford County right now and working its way again northeast. These are just rapidly moving because our upper level winds are such tonight that things are just not moving slow at all. Upper level winds are racing, and that's what's making these storms race too. We're looking here at Troy Community 222, Dixon Town 224, Pinker 224, Keene Community, which is over into the northern part of Jessamine County 225, Nealton 227, Brannon, which is over near Brannon Crossing 230, Catnip 230, Indian Hills 231. So again, broad rotation, not confirmation of a tornado on the ground. This is radar indicated, which means that again the radar looks inside the storm. It sees winds that are turning in different directions. It can find rotation that may be aloft that could come down to the ground. That heavier rain can help to bring that funnel down to the ground, and we could get a tornado. For sure, straight line winds into Mercer County over into southern Woodford County right now. So this is south of Versailles. It's really on top of Nonsuch. You're already getting some very strong winds down there, but the part of the rotation in the last scan is just back over into northeastern portions of Mercer County. All right, but we need everybody there that is obviously in Mercer, also this is north of Harrodsburg. So if you're watching us in Harrodsburg, if you're watching us in Bergen, the rotation part of this, now there still was a severe storm going through Harrodsburg, but the area that they issued the tornado warning for is for the part of the storm that is riding north of 127, on 127 and just east of there. If you zoom in a little bit closer, I can kind of give you some smaller communities, as I just mentioned a moment ago, Nonsuch, but some of the roads, this is going to be now crossing over the Patterson Lane, Ford's Mill Road. Again, now we're over into Woodford County here, Cummins Ferry, Oregon Road, down toward Hiffner Road, Sellers Mill Road, Troy Pike, just kind of down the line there. This is where that broad rotation, if we were to see a tornado, it would now be over into the southern portion of Woodford County. And on that track, it would eventually take it over into northern Jessamine. So this would be passing north of Nicholasville, north of Wilmore. It'd be going over toward Keene, and eventually down the line, it would take it over, as we mentioned a moment ago, toward Brandon Crossing, and eventually into Fayette County. So up along the northern portion of this line, we have some severe thunderstorms that we want to revisit here while we still have many of you awake, wanting to know what's happening in your neck of the woods. Nicholas County severe thunderstorm warning. Harrison still in Bourbon County severe thunderstorm. Fleming County severe thunderstorm warning. That goes until 3 a.m. So we're talking about for almost 40 minutes, just shy of it. Nicholas County till 2:30, so about 8 more minutes, but you're in the heart of it right now. If I go back to the normal standard radar view, you can see intense thunderstorm, Carlisle, Millersburg, even back over into, still into Paris, but the strongest winds are between Paris and Millersburg and over into Carlisle, where we could still see some winds at about 60 miles per hour. Not the strongest winds yet in Fleming County, but they're issuing the warnings in advance to give people as much notice as possible. Justin?
Yeah, and when, you know, we're sitting here strumming through all of these storms that you see, they've been training over the same spots over and over here through the night. So we're already seeing some power outages starting to pop up out there as well, especially in some of our northern counties that have had multiple rounds of storms. And while we've got this, I just want to note to you that back off towards south central Kentucky, there is yet another system, another cell, producing gusts of wind over 60 to 70 miles an hour, at least the potential, and it has a tornado warning tagged on it for the exact same things we're looking at here. That is moving mainly maybe just a little bit south of the path we've got most of these storms on right now. And we're going to see that take place again here too. I want to show you the future radar just quick so you can get an idea how these storms are going to move over the course of the next 2 to 3 hours. Now, the warnings are going to disappear because new ones will likely have to come out for some of this, but notice that line. We're talking about places like Richmond that hasn't seen much yet. Danville, you've seen a little, but there's more to come. This line is going to continue to work in, so you can't get complacent for our friends to the south. We've also got, again, just to reiterate, the tornado watch that is in play for everybody now until 7 a.m., except our far southeastern communities there, from Breathitt, Clay, McGoffin, Johnson, things to the southeast of that. But Wolf, Lee, Jackson, Laurel, McCreary, everything north of there, still inside this threat until 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. Of course, we've still got that severe thunderstorm warning and the tornado warning that is ongoing for us right now here in central portions of Fayette County. It does look like if we get a closer look at that again, we'll be able to run through it. They did just issue that new one that Chief Justin Logan was just talking about. That's coming into play for us as we head into parts of Fleming County until 3 a.m. That one's seen best from either the Jackson or the Wilmington radar, and it's intense for sure as the next wave from the west moves into it. But we do have that tornado warning that looks like it just got the latest update there, moving into parts of northern Jessamine County now. Rain-wise, impressive. We've definitely got a torrential rainfall there as it's working in, but of course we're watching for those winds, and in that latest scan, at least on this velocity reading, if we flip back to the storm relative, once again, it does look like that rotation is relatively weak, and it is once more screaming a severe straight line wind potential for us. It's starting to cross from the Woodford County line and the northern Jessamine County line to where the Fayette County line meets those two places there in the southwestern portion of that county. But strong winds are expected to push right into downtown Nicholasville at this point too, as we have here those bright shades just north of Wilmore along 68 working into and possibly clipping northern parts of the Nicholasville loop there on 27. So be prepared for that, as some gusty winds are likely to push in soon, as well as over near Troy, where we've got greens and reds. Some of that rotation a possibility for us here again as we push through it. So we've got multiple severe thunderstorm warnings, tornado warnings still pushing through here tonight. Again, this warning is in place for us until 2:45 a.m. and it includes Jessamine now leaving Mercer County, but more storms are funneling in behind it, so the severe thunderstorm warning stays in place, and we've got that to deal with here as we move into the rest of tonight. Justin, what else are you seeing? Any new updates?
Yeah, still looking at that same storm that you're tracking there coming into Jessamine County. The area of rotation with the now right there in the corner, far northwestern tip of, again, Jessamine County. So everything's kind of zoomed in here. We've got Woodford County here, crossing to Jessamine. Here's Fayette County because there's the Bluegrass Airport. There is some broad rotation still here into the Keene, Nealton, Dixontown, over to the Brandon Catnip area. So that's also going to be putting it, again, closer to Woods Road, Keene Road. Right in that area. If you live there, you should be in your safe place already, because we went over that you were under a tornado warning a short time ago. Obviously, it just is worth reiterating here. The best place to be is into a basement. But I know a lot of us don't have basements. If you don't have that basement, the next best place to be is into an interior room. So let's just open up and take a peek here at this house. This is why we always say center room. See what we're saying here? We got one wall, we got another wall, and that would be the center room, the bathroom in this instance. Sometimes that will be a closet. Sometimes it'll be another interior room, a room without windows, but on the lowest floor of the home, okay? You don't want to be higher. You want to be on the first floor or below ground if you have a basement. Many of us, obviously, as you just mentioned, do not have basements. Let me go back, though, and take a peek at a couple of our home view cameras. This is in Paris right now. We're looking toward the north and east, toward the severe storm that's going now over into Nicholas County. We've been seeing lots of lightning with this, torrential rain. Doesn't look like there's too much intense winds left right here in the heart of Paris, though. As we're looking at outside of the Bourbon County Middle School, we can look here at our station camera in Lexington. We're looking toward the University of Kentucky's campus. We're going to be looking also the direction of the storm that's going to be coming out of Jessamine County, the one that is tornado warned, to see if we're able to see any lowerings, especially once we get some flashes of lightning. We can usually see that. But for sure with this storm that is coming out of Jessamine County right now, or into Jessamine County, it definitely has a lot of wind with it. Let me go back and look inside that storm. Lots of lightning with it too. Where we see that center of of concentration of lightning along US 68 here, going north as you run your way into the northern and northwestern part of Jessamine County, just north and west of Nicholasville. That's where we've got the concentration of lightning, heavy rain, and maybe even some hail with this right now. You see the brighter shades of purple and maybe even a hint of black coming in there. That would be into the western part of even Fayette County. We could be seeing a little bit of hail, but I want to look back at the winds inside of this. I'm going to go, bear with me, I'm going to switch over to a different radar. All right, you look here, if we wind this back out, you notice we look for the reds and greens next to each other. We've gone over this many times. Look now into the western and southwestern part of Fayette County. Still some broad rotation here. That would be the part of the storm that I was telling you that was just a minute ago near Keene that's crossing over into Fayette County. So this is very close to the Bluegrass Airport. If there is a tornado, this is where it would be. And we say if because we have no confirmation. We have a radar indication of rotation. All right, it's a great tool to have, but we don't always see when there's rotation on radar, it make it to the ground. But we have to treat it as if there could be a tornado at any point, because one could touch down in an instant and then you don't have time to get to your shelter. So Little Georgetown, Little Texas, South Elkhorn, so we're now talking about in Fayette County, that goes a little farther off to the north and eventually into downtown. It is broad circulation that goes from southwest Fayette over into the northern part of Jessamine County there. That whole area is going northeast. You'll notice they allowed the severe thunderstorm warning to drop off for this same storm. First, it was a severe thunderstorm warning, and then it was a tornado warning was issued. So that lets me know that they're only really primarily concerned here with this area of rotation because they think that the storm itself outside of this small area has weakened below severe threshold, all right? If that makes any sense to you at home. They're keeping the tornado warning for that small area of a rotation. So you need to stay hunkered down. This would even include the city of Lexington. We gave you that warning out earlier, but even though the rotation isn't here yet, everybody in the heart of Lexington, including downtown, all right? North side, south side, west side, all need to be in that interior room away from windows. And what you need to do is you can stream us right here on the Fox 56 weather app. If you don't have that, go to fox56news.com and you can see us streaming. That way you don't have to keep your TV, stay in front of your TV. You can go to your safe place and watch us there. If you don't have time to do that, you can just turn up the volume on your TV, take the blankets, take the pillows with you into your interior room and put it over you, okay? If you have a helmet for the kids and for you as well, helmet's a great thing to have. Bike helmet, baseball helmet, sports helmet, something like that of that nature to put on your head. That's going to give you even a greater protection than, say, covering your hands, covering your head with your hands, Justin.
Yeah, we got a couple new severe thunderstorm warnings that have popped out. Also, our news director, Mark, lives in Nicholasville, just near East Jessamine High School, said that the winds were calm in his part, and you notice from what Justin Logan was talking about, those winds are north of the downtown Nicholasville area now. Still want to keep you safe in your safe space until that runs out. Just wanted to show you quick some county power outages. Tornadoes have dropped in Jefferson County. There was a confirmed one there earlier tonight. Power outages over there. For northern parts here in Harrison County, though, 2,000 people already. In Franklin County, 700. So we've got more of that to look at as we roll into tonight. Now, quickly back over to these new severe thunderstorm warnings that have popped up for us here. They've included a large area, and they're really sort of just putting out blanket boxes at this point for this next line that we did mention to you just a little while ago. They're moving towards the Campbellsville area, now including some of those zones that haven't seen a whole lot of action yet. We're talking about parts of Boyle, Garrett, Madison County is even in on this now too. Same with Lincoln and Casey County. A little further south down in Russell County. All of those spots are now in a severe thunderstorm warning until 3:15 a.m. and then 3:30 for our folks a little bit further to the south. You see this faster moving part here is working into south central Kentucky there for northern parts of Casey County, all of Boyle County, talking about Lincoln and Garrett County till 3:15 a.m. This severe thunderstorm warning has a tag on it of 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts and the possibility of a tornado. So as we watch that come through, it'll be another cause for concern as we get into tonight, much like that cell that is moving right now into Lexington. We're going to get back over.
Yeah, look at our camera.
Is it bouncing around pretty good? Why don't you guys flip over to him real quick and see what we've got going on there?
Yeah, on our home view camera in Lexington, this is the heart of the storm, the warned part of the storm for the tornado warning. Again, the winds are picking up right within this zone that's coming in. For sure, blinding rainfall and frequent flashes of lightning. I was looking, too, on the latest scan of the radar that the rotation's so broad. I still think the greatest concern out of this is definitely going to be for straight line winds, but yes, there could be a brief spin tornado on the leading edge. So everybody in Lexington, downtown, west side, south side, you need to be seeking shelter right now. I feel that it's safe enough for us here in our location as this storm is moving right into downtown in the Chevy Chase area, that we're going to be okay in our studio into a center room right now to stay where we are so we can stay with you at home. Just look at the blinding rain here. I can kind of pan our home view camera around just a bit into Lexington. This is the strongest winds that we've seen so far coming into the city, okay? And we can kind of check over at the Bluegrass Airport and I can pull up and see what the instantaneous winds are over there in 5-minute observations, because this storm has just passed by that. Looks like, yeah, the strongest wind that I've gotten at the airport was within the last 5-10 minutes, 36-mile-per-hour gusts. So not even at severe levels.
So maybe that rotation might be a little elevated for us and isn't quite getting down to the surface. And they did just trim the back edge of it too. So that really means that sort of that back edge of the storm is likely not the concern. Now, who's not to say that elevated rotation and that wind that's up there can't get down to the surface? It certainly can quickly transfer momentum down in there. But if we're getting observations at 36 miles an hour, that might give them an idea of how this is going to progress as it moves to the northeast. And really the big concern is that quick, brief spin-up tornadoes. Real quick, though, back to those storms we had just mentioned before we jumped back into downtown Lexington. The ones that are not quite into KC and Boyle County yet, who are moving quickly, coming out of the west, they're moving to the east at roughly 60 miles an hour and packing a 70-mile-an-hour punch to them as they do so. So let's get an idea of what that looks like on velocity. And this is going to be a big game for us tonight with the velocity readings. Again, looking for rotation, looking for where those strongest straight line winds are. We do storm relative. We can do the regular velocity that tracks the distance from where the radar scene is at. And you look down here and you get some of those similar readings that we have in the storm that's only producing, say, 36-mile-an-hour winds in Lexington. Similar look for us. Some rotation possible near Campbellsville. This storm, the leading edge, is going to have the best opportunity to drop some of those sporadic 60 to 70-mile-an-hour gusts as it works across. So this is a little bit further out, but we can go ahead and try to throw just a quick tracker on it so our folks that haven't seen the action yet know when it's going to be in town. Either way, now's the time to get down from Lancaster to Stanford, Liberty, and Danville. Everybody in that box, you're inside of this even just to the west of Richmond. My folks in Richmond, you're only probably a short 30 to 45 minutes away from getting your chance at some of these strong to severe storms as well. Let me put this up here for us and get you an idea. Moving 60 miles an hour or so to the east gives you an idea of where they come in at these times. We're talking about, I'll move it over here, Danville by 258. So it's 237 right now. Liberty, 258 as well. Then we start talking about Stanford, Lancaster, 308, 311. Then you start talking about EKU by 323. That is inside of downtown Richmond, of course. It's even not in the warning box at this time. That storm's headed your way in less than an hour. So now's the time to get down and get safe for that system. Again, if we move just a little further south while we cover those storms quickly here that are going to be eventually moving into Russell County, Pulaski County, down towards Wayne and McCreary counties. Once we get into there, those storms are a little further out, maybe add another 30 minutes tops. They're moving 60 miles an hour instead of 70, but still coming along the same clip, and we've got that opportunity as we roll through. Chief?
Yeah, so with the storm back in Lexington here, I want to revisit that where we still have the tornado warning. When we look at this, look with me as we're scanning through. We see greens, that's winds that are going toward the radar, and we're looking for reds that are winds blowing away from the radar. Not seeing nearly as much as that as what we were as it was coming out of Jessamine County. So what this still continues to tell me, straight line winds are the main concern. And looking at our home view a minute ago as it was moving overhead, the winds have definitely upticked since they passed by the Bluegrass Airport. Again, some of this is likely still measuring numbers that are just above our surface because the radar beam is shooting up into the storm at least by a couple of thousand feet when we're looking at the storm from far away. But I still think we could be looking at winds gusting between at least up near 50 miles an hour. Now, along the line here, along the front edge, the only spot of very broad rotation I see is up here into the northeastern part of Fayette County. This is going to be getting as you're getting on the outskirts of the county, actually, up toward the Elmendorf area. You're going to get up toward Muir Station. But to be honest, I don't think that's even anything to be concerned with in terms of a tornado. I really believe that this is still more of a straight line wind as it keeps going east.
Yeah, and they let that tornado warning expire too.
Good.
So
it's a little delayed on our system to exit out. But I'm glad you noticed that.
I think they're listening to us. Every time we do something, they seem to
I'm looking here at some pictures that people have sent me here. Let's see, from the storms as they were coming through a little bit earlier through portions of Bourbon County, saying that it was mainly just wind and rain as it was going up through there, but not any damage that they saw. So, I mean, hey, nobody wants any damage, clearly, right? We want people to be safe, and that's why we're still on this. It's good that they canceled that, but it's kind of odd that they maybe didn't go ahead and issue a severe thunderstorm warning, just considering how it upticked in intensity. So anybody that still is into the eastern part of Fayette County, if you're riding Bryan Station, Fenwick, Avon, Columbus communities, so you're going east on 64, once you get past the 64-75 split, you go east, you get over toward Walnut Hill, coming through Hamburg right now. These are where the strongest winds are that we have with that particular storm. But at this time still, I no longer see any threat, and the Weather Service agrees, of a tornado warning. They've allowed that to expire. I know our box is still here. Sometimes it's just a little delayed in our system to get in due to time.
2:45, I think it was until as well, so it might stick on there
until
for that 5 minutes. Yeah, that's usually what happens when they let one expire or cancel. So, but we still got those storms south of you. They're here down in the southern portion of the state, still now moving into just the barely moving the edge into Casey County now and parts of Boyle County. And these, while not tornado warnings, they do carry a tornado possible tag. Most of these severe thunderstorm warnings that we've had have had that and will continue to have that as we roll into tonight, just because of all the notching and the twisting and the shear that's still in the environment. It's very shear rich, and that's how thunderstorms really strive. That's how they really survive in this environment. Of course, it was hot today, made it into the low 80s, I guess yesterday at this point, with dew points in the 60s. So we've got all the ingredients for the energy still there, and the shear just kind of keeps these storms going, even if they're not as strong as they were a little back stream when they first developed. But we still got those storms moving in. They're moving to the east 60-ish miles an hour, and we've got them capable of producing 70 miles an hour. And I'm sure there's plenty of stuff within this line that looks rotation-like. Do you have anything that really jumps out to you?
As I said, that they surprised that they didn't issue a severe thunderstorm warning for that.
When we say it, that's when they do it. I've been saying that all night. I'm telling you.
They did. So that part of the storm is still considered severe, again, as it's up the intensity of the winds coming out of Fayette County and eventually into Bourbon County have ticked up in intensity. Likely could get some gusts 60, maybe in excess of that. I'll read off the latest warning from the National Weather Service here on that storm. That warning goes until 3:30 a.m. for Bourbon County here, and it includes northeastern Fayette County too, but it does not include, it includes downtown Lexington. But I'll tell you, if you live in downtown Lexington, if you live inside of New Circle Road, inside the loop and points off to the west, the severe part of this, it's over, okay? You can rest easy. If you live Tate's Creek, if you live out Bluegrass Airport, if you live out Masterson Station,
My folks
if you
in
live down...
Nicholasville.
Huh?
My folks in Nicholasville?
Yes,
You guys
down
are
in the
good
south,
too?
they're clear too. But the eastern part of Fayette County, Hamburg up to Muir Station, going over eventually up to Hutchinson. This is going to be taking you over into the southern part of Bourbon County toward Clintonville and then eventually into Paris. This is not a tornado warning. It is a severe thunderstorm warning. There's the information, all right. Winds to 60, all right. We've been looking at these because at times the National Weather Service will issue what we call a tornado tag. Justin was mentioning this a minute ago, where that there is not strong enough rotation that there could be a tornado yet. They say, all right, well, we could see strong winds, but there could be a quick spin up tornado, so to put a possible. Well, there's not that indicated with this, but with the amount of rotation there is in the atmosphere today and in this morning still, even though this is primarily straight line winds coming into Muir Station, Hutchinson, that is in the southwestern part of Bourbon County, eastern part of Fayette County toward the Avon community, that whole stretch there is where we could have gusts of wind up to 60 miles per hour. So we already had one blast of storms that came through Paris. This is the next little wave that's pretty much riding up along US 27, but it's also just in kind of riding along I-64. So between 27 and I-64 going right toward Clintonville, and eventually this would hold together and continue to track its way east over Bourbon and the northern part of Clark County. Again, the tornado warnings expired. Now it's just a severe thunderstorm, and there it is. It's inching closer to Paris. I'll just pull up our camera here, and what I'll do is I'll spin our camera around toward the storm coming out of Fayette County. All right, so right now I've got it looking toward the bypass on the Paris camera. So I'll move that around and we can kind of watch the wall of water and the wall of wind that's going to be coming in. There's the flags in front of the middle school. You can see whipping in the wind there. Not nearly as intense as what it will be soon. All right, so we're going to be watching that part of the storm that I'm concerned with is actually back behind the tower. So here's Paris Pike, all right? So this is where the storm would be coming from the south and west. Look at all the vivid lightning, torrential rain, trees kind of swaying in the winds, but the strongest portion of the winds are not in town just yet. Definitely, though, frequent flashes of lightning, pretty intense. You see anything else over there?
You know, I just look back downstream from where these storms have been coming from. We take a look at like the velocity. If you pull it up, you'll notice it's like a bunch of tiny little notches all together. They look similar to that. They might not even be inside of a warning box right now. They might not even be carrying those winds to the ground, but it's just the same thing in the same train going over. Like, we have some rotation indicators that I've turned on for these storms that are trying to enter into, excuse me on that, into Casey County right now. We can get this to zoom again, and we have some rotation showing up, about to enter into Casey County with our Barron system picking that circulation here. So we go over here to the storm relative and we see that there is some tightening rotation, but let me back it out for you a second. If you look all along the line, that is moving back into Jessamine now and Mercer, while not in the severe thunderstorm warning, there's little notches within that too. Of course, our strongest is now looking like it's starting to enter into Casey County. We may see, for the same reasons as we've been talking about with these other storms, the potential of a tornado warning being issued because of that tightening rotation. And so we'll have to monitor that as we move in. Now, a little bit more rural part of Casey County, north of Liberty, but eventually moving towards Stanford here and possibly even into the Lancaster area between the Danville, Stanford, and Lancaster triangle there as that system moves in. So we've got new hot spots of rotation that we'll need to keep an eye on as this continues to progress to the east. It's just now entering Casey County and far western portions of Boyle County, where some of those higher wind gusts are most likely to be. And of course, if we back it out and zoom it out, I may need to reset my thing. So let me go ahead and send it back over to J-Lo to try to maybe get a look at that here as we go through tonight. But we've got more hot spots to deal with. What do you got?
Other warnings upstream here for our friends in Fleming County, going through portions of Bath County. That strongest portion of the storm here is now beginning to cross out of eastern and southern Fleming County over into northern Rowan County. If we look inside, this is a severe thunderstorm. Let me clarify that. That warning up there in Fleming County goes till 3, so we've got 13 minutes left on that. I could look at the winds inside of this. Very broad rotation, but nothing that I could see at the moment here that would be concerned for anything tornadic that is going through Fleming, so that's good. Definitely, though, some gusty winds, likely still on the order of maybe up near 50, but as we kind of track along this entire line, you can clearly see our strongest storms are where we have a greater concentration of lightning showing up. Look at the uptick in lightning, Clintonville and Paris here. This is a stronger storm. Definitely severe. This is where we have some of our strongest winds from Clintonville just on the south side of Paris, where we could be getting 50 to 60 mile per hour winds that are gusting, all right? And it may only last for a few minutes. It may not be lasting all that long, but it'll be that initial burst of some strong straight line winds that are coming through, already coming through Clintonville right now, and that'll keep riding east and going over eventually down the line. It's going to take it to North Middletown. Back into Lexington, though, things have calmed down quite a bit. Still looking at rain that's in town, but really the strongest portion of the storm is what we just showed you there. And then look back to the south. This is what Justin was looking at. If I switch radars, because I want to give you a little better picture of where these storms are coming from here. Another uptick in lightning coming out of Marion County. This is Taylor County here, Campbellsville, Lebanon, Marion County, crossing now into Casey. So there is some strong straight line winds and severe, really, going just west of Liberty. So the northern tip of Casey up into Boyle County and even up into portions here of Mercer County into Harrodsburg. Not in a warning, but definitely seeing some winds that are fairly gusty all along that. And Justin was mentioning a minute ago about looking inside the storms here hold on, let me look at our shear tracker, and this is what he was talking about, how that over time you can see little notches or little areas. This is a 1 hour track, and it looks kind of messy, but it's blended together. See how there is this swath along the leading edge of this? So that just goes to show you that this storm definitely has the capability of producing some damaging winds for Casey, Boyle, eventually down to Lincoln. But before I toss it back to Justin, I want to show you our future radar. So this takes the radar as it stands right now, and what it's going to do is it's going to take it out for 2 hours from the current standpoint. So there it is. It's already transitioned over to that product. Let's hit play, and let's take this out for 2 hours. So the whole entire squall line just keeps gradually moving its way off to the east. This product, it is great. Look how the definition, see how it still keeps some bowing segments in there? And when you look for bowing segments, that's an indication to us on the radar of some stronger, potentially damaging straight line winds. So 2 hours, look here. I mean, it still is keeping southeast Kentucky kind of dry. It's riding. But remember, we talked about this. This is where that flooding potential comes in. Areas getting that repeat riding along the front. It's kind of running into a strong ridge of high pressure in the southeast U.S., and that keeps that from moving too far into eastern Kentucky. So that's where the storms are going to be going over the next couple of hours, but this is obviously where they are right now. Severe storms in Bourbon County, severe storms moving into Boyle County, into Mercer County, and back down into Casey County, Justin.
Yeah, and then we've been covering this now, I think, for the past 2.5 hours or so, and it's been sort of the same story. Taking a close look at the storm that's moving into Casey County, the nice products that we have that show us the future of how that radar might look in the next 2 hours. They also have nice little storm tracks on them that when we can click on those and get an idea of what's going on, they give us an idea of see how these are the strongest winds along that leading edge. This is suggesting that this storm is moving 67 miles an hour, and it is producing some gusts that are probably close to that overall. So it's in Danville by 3:09. Current time, 2:51 a.m. It's just moving into northern Casey County, like Justin Logan said. But now we're going to have that threat move into places like Stanford by 3:11. So we really only have 20 minutes left of this before it gets into your neck of the woods. And this is in effect until 3:15. So there's, if it stays this strong, likely some downstream warnings that are coming for those places that might not have seen any, like the rest of Madison County, possibly parts of Clark County that haven't seen anything for a severe thunderstorm warning yet as we head into tonight. So that's what we need to keep our focus on, of course, as we move through here into the next several hours with this storm coming in. And like Justin Logan showed you there just a second ago with the future radar, even those spots way in southeastern Kentucky, they're not in a watch, but we still have the watch till 7 a.m. for places like Morgan, Wolf, Lee, Owsley, Jackson, Laurel. They haven't seen any severe thunderstorms yet as the night has rolled on. So that future radar, while 2 hours out, still isn't quite tapping into where the edge of our watch line lives for right now. So obviously plenty of activity to keep close eyes on as things go on. I do want to actually bump back out and take a look maybe at an even broader scale. We're going to move the radar to a more composite view and just take a look back off to the southwest to see what kind of activity that we might have going on out there. If we can get the zoom to work. Now look at this back in western Tennessee. They have confirmed tornado warnings ongoing right now and even emergency tornado warnings ongoing right now. That is back off to our southwest. Not that these are to stay that strong as they get to us, but that is where our theme is continuing to trend from. So no doubt that that activity eventually gets downstream. The strength of it when it gets here likely to weaken a little bit more as we continue to use the atmosphere's energy that it already has, that we haven't quite tapped into, but we will get to as this first wave comes in. By the time those get here, not to say they won't be severe, but they'll have a little less to work with. So there's at least some good news in the trend overall. Things should gradually decrease. Although even as we go into tomorrow, our threat for severe weather doesn't end. So folks that have seen some action tonight, and especially in those areas that are back off to the north and west, like Franklin, Anderson counties, back up towards maybe even parts of Harrison County now, you can relax for now as those storms come out, so long as no new warnings get issued. Again, I think this main line continues to push them a little bit more east, so we'll likely see much quieter weather for a brief moment, but there's more action to come as we head into tomorrow. Justin.
Right, and as one of these storms, we've been tracking many along this entire line, but the one as it was coming through Mercer County a little bit ago through Harrodsburg. This is a picture from Tyler. He sent this photo to me. Nickel-size hail as the storm was moving obviously through the heart of Mercer County. He said he obviously didn't see a tornado, but there were definitely some strong winds. But you can see there's the hailstone set up beside a nickel and a penny, and there's a quarter. So not the size of quarters, but still some hail as that storm was coming on through. So I'll move that back out and kind of go back to radar, look at where that storm is located now. We'll kind of switch things up and look at the radar. Justin was showing that stronger storm was coming out of, again, Casey County. Look to the south here, and this is probably the strongest storm that we have in our area at the moment. Yes, several severe thunderstorm warnings, but this one is the strongest with potential for maybe 3/4 inch size hail. So an inch in diameter is the size of quarter, so we're talking about under that, all right? Looking here, Ellisburg at 258, Butchertown at 3, Houstonville at 303, Moreland 304, and down toward Shelby City at 307. So we're coming out of Casey County and into Houstonville, which is in Lincoln County, down the line toward Marksbury and Lancaster, and down the line there, that's going to be taking us as we get over into eventually Garrett County. But definitely the potential here on the leading edge of this storm, not only for some let's say medium-sized hail, but not quite severe hail, but winds that could be again on the order of up to about 60 miles per hour. Yeah. So that's one storm there. Did you have something?
Well, we got a new severe thunderstorm warning for Jessamine County, Fayette County here, as that storm that we've been watching come up out of Casey County. We were talking about how there was some notches inside of it, even outside of that warning box. Now, the National Weather Service has felt it appropriate to go ahead and give that a severe thunderstorm warning, and it is rating it for wind gusts upwards of 70 miles an hour. So that is cause for concern for us. When we start talking 70 plus, that's when we start talking about just as much straight line damage as a low-end tornado could produce. 70-mile-an-hour winds, nothing to laugh at here for us. So we've got those new warnings, and we were just saying this, places like Madison County, maybe other portions of Clark County that haven't seen anything yet. You are now inside a severe thunderstorm warning for the next 45 minutes, almost even an hour, really, as this system continues to work in. It includes Mercer again, back near Harrodsburg, northern Garrett County, there it pops up for us now, Fayette County till 3:45, including downtown, and we're seeing, while it looks messy, of course, here on our live radar view when we're looking at reflectivity. When we get an opportunity here to go over to the other side of things, then we're talking about the threat for, maybe if we look at velocity, the chance for some of the rotation or some pockets of gustier winds. Looks like I'm having more technical difficulties on my end, so I'll pass it back over to you to maybe get an update on what the winds look like inside that storm. Justin.
Okay, all right, we'll switch back, switch radar sites and look out of this Louisville as we're watching the storm closer to Casey County here. Look at all the lightning. This is easily the strongest storm that we have this morning, at least at this point, with all the greatest concentration of lightning. Look here, Perryville, some very strong winds, so that's in the western part of Boyle County. Back down into Casey County here, we can look in, and again, we can pixel querying some of these, and some of these winds may be, again, off the surface a bit, but still the potential for some winds to get down at least maybe upwards of 60. I know they issued on that for 70-mile-per-hour gusts. I was looking at the Kentucky Mesonet, which obviously there's a lot of weather stations that are nearby there, and so far the strongest wind gusts that I see in that vicinity, and again, this updates every couple of minutes, was 48-mile-per-hour gusts in Columbia, which is in Adair County. So that was as that storm was crossing over now out of eventually out of Adair over into Taylor, and then it went over here into Casey County right now. It looks like they've just updated this to a tornado warning on the northern fringe of this. So good thing we've got this pulled up. Yep. Right on the leading edge of this, very straight line winds. But if I switch to a different product, let me switch over to Storm Relative. Looking inside of this, still a little bit of greens and reds next to each other, but to be honest, not anything that sticks out that is super strong with this. We can put a track, and the only spot that I really see that does stand out would be here. Yeah. This is going to be going just west of Houstonville, southwest of there. So if there's a tornado here, it would be right along 127. Old Liberty Road, 127 into Houstonville, and then that would be going east over toward Chicken Bristle, Murphy Road, McKinney Community, Geneva. This, I can show you the movement of this.
70 miles an hour
70 miles.
Yep.
So
really
watch,
cruising.
though, how that was there. There wasn't much on the radar except for more in the way of straight line winds. And then we start to see where the reds and greens really come together. But in the latest scan, it's still there, but it's not what I would say is tight circulation, but it is some circulation really just to the southeast now of Houstonville in that latest scan. So that storm is racing fast. And I know they've been saying these are going 70, but some of these, because where they're kind of running into the southeast there, where they start slowing down, I don't know that it is fully 70, but I'm going to put a track on the front edge of this regardless, still moving more off to the east and northeast. We'll put it at least 60 miles an hour. Mount Salem now, I would just called out Chicken Bristle 302, McKinney 302, 303 now in Geneva. So again, it's moving fast, so you don't have you have very little time to try to get into your safe place. That lowest floor of your home, a basement if you don't have a basement, or a storm cellar, you want to get into an interior room on the first floor. So a bathroom, a closet, an interior hallway, a closet that's under a staircase or stairwell there. Those are usually also a secure place to be there if you live in Lincoln County. Casey County, I know the warning was issued to include you, but really the portion of the rotation that spawned the warning is into Lincoln County. Liberty, you're not actually in the tornado warning. You are in the severe thunderstorm warning, okay? So several warnings here to track with this whole storm, but really anywhere along this line we could, like Justin was mentioning earlier, and we've been mentioning that we could get a spin-up tornado in a hurry, okay? That's why this is where we have rotation, Houstonville, maybe another little spot east of Liberty, even though you're not under a tornado warning. So anywhere in that severe thunderstorm, Casey, Lincoln, And obviously, under the tornado warning, you need to be into that safe place right now with your blankets, your pillows. Turn us on. And we have one of our twisting of the wind signatures here that's popped up right in the latest scan as we're looking at the storm near Houstonville, okay? So Stanford, this would be coming toward you, okay? This would be coming really probably just south, but still Stanford and Houstonville and McKinney and over toward Crab Orchard. I need all those people. Geneva, all those areas need to be interior room away from windows and keep us turned on here and the volume up on your TV so you can be in your safe space until we give you the all clear.
We got a new tornado warning for you here, you guys, up in places near Montgomery County, Bath County, Fleming, and Rowan County. A new tornado warning was issued out of the Jackson office here, moving to the northeast at roughly 70 miles an hour. Am I missing this, or is it not show? Am I in the wrong spot here?
It's not showing up on here yet.
Okay.
Hold
maybe
on,
maybe we're just a little bit ahead, and it's taking its time to get in. I just got that update from the EAS system.
Yep, there it is. It's in the system now. It's the one that's on the storm that is coming out of Nicholas County.
Oh, yeah.
You see that there, right on the Nicholas and Bourbon County line?
There it popped. All these colors are meshing together. I apologize for that. So yes, so just outside of the storm that's moving through Carlisle right now is the one that has that opportunity to produce said tornadic activity. Let's get a closer look at that. See if I can get down in on it and turn the velocity reading on. Okay, so we've got some rotation right here. A little bit loose in broad rotation. We do have some greens and reds coming together, but not in the way that would suggest that there is any significant rotation with us, although we do have some, this is a little bit tighter than some of the other indicators that we've seen here tonight. Just to the north of Sharpsburg at this time, north and west of that, north and east of places like Bunker Hill, Plum, and Little Rock right now, likely seeing that tornado warning for this zone of rotation. This is south and east of Carlisle. Now again, it is a bit broad, but I do think, Justin, you'll have to chime in here too. This is a little bit tighter than maybe some of the other ones we've seen. Still not by any means great, but no chance. I mean, there's a chance that we have maybe a quick spin up taking place if there is a tornado in this vicinity. We're talking about just to the south and west of Bethel, just to the south and east of East Union, between Ramsey Road, somewhere along Willow Lane there. That's just north coming out of downtown Sharpsburg there. Seeing Gravel Road, another roadway on here, lower Sharpsburg Road, kind of working towards that. So that's where we're seeing rotation. It's actually right on the edge of this tornado warning box.
Yeah.
They actually just issued a second one right on top of it there.
For Nicholas County.
As we talk about it for Nicholas County till 3:30 a.m. So clearly enough rotation here to prompt the warning. If you guys are in these areas, you need to get down and get into your safe spaces at this time. Obviously, Flemingsburg, you guys are also inside of that. You were already in the severe thunderstorm warning, so you should already be in that safe space. Checking us out, we are live on all of the Facebooks, my page, Justin Logan's page, Chris Johnson's page, Peyton Hinkle's page. You follow any of us, you'll be able to watch this on your mobile device. Get down into the safe space. We're going to obviously keep you updated as this goes on, but this storm actually crossing county lines from portions of Bath County into Nicholas County now. And again, those warnings are in place. 3:15 for Bath for the tornado warning, but to 3:30 until Nicholas County, almost as if it took more of like a slight northerly track as it's been moving in. I think I have the rotation. Yeah, so I can play this out. It's a little bit longer of a feed. Let's see what happens. Sort of moves in. There it comes. It's riding right along those two county lines for us this evening. My track is too long on the timing from the last 2 hours or so, but still watching that closely as it moves in. So an area of interest of rotation there in the grand scheme of things. That severe thunderstorm warning is back off. Actually, let me even point at it from the Wilmington Center, and we get a little different perspective from the Wilmington radar scene in Ohio, and you see North Sharper, not as great of a return, probably a little further away, maybe not as great, shooting a little higher into the cloud possibly, so not getting as tight of an instance there, but still tornado warning in place, still the possibility for something to spin down and touch. We'll see how it's not confirmed at this time, but there is concern, so make sure that you're down in your spot. We'll keep an eye on this. Let's get another check of that other tornado warning that we've still got going on in south central portions. Justin.
Yeah, the one that's going right into the heart of Lincoln Lincoln County. This one's also tightened up just a bit, coming very close to Stanford. Still will have our twisting of the wind signature on there. That is an indication that the radar is flagging that storm where it sees that there is some rotation. See the reds and the greens next to each other. So just to the south of Stanford. But if you live in Stanford, you need, I mean, this is close enough by, absolutely. You need to be interior room. Let's not try to look for this because I'll tell you why. If you go over to the standard radar view, look at this. It is rain wrapped, all right? So if there's a tornado here, you're not going to see it. It's going to be covered up with rain, all right? So that's why you need to be interior room away from windows. There's the latest velocity that we're looking at here, and it is on top of Stanford. You see where we get the reds and the greens right next to each other. So the brighter shades of green are near Stanford. The brighter shades of red are actually south. Those are not bumping up what we would call like gate to gate right next to each other, but still there is broad enough rotation here that a tornado could touch down at any moment. All right, I'll read off the text from the National Weather Service on this morning when it was issued. Capable of producing a tornado and moving east towards Stanford here. It's moving east at 70 miles an hour. Now this again was radar indicated, so no confirmation on the ground, but you want to treat it as such. So inside of the warning, okay, this is a large warning here. Warning is this red blinking box is where there's a tornado warning, okay? Includes Stanford, Crab Orchard, it includes Lancaster, it even includes Berea, because they're drawing this out well in advance as the storm continues to roll more easterly and may take off a slight northerly jog there. All right, so on that path, I'll put a track on here for you on this whole front edge where we could have a spin-up tornado there and move it more easterly at 70. Wow, these storms are really just racing. We'll put it here, kind of reposition things. Look at this. This is going to be putting it toward Walnut Flat now. Maywood community, that's going to be coming here very soon. So you need to be in your safe place. Cartersville, 318. Wollaston at 322. Boone, 324. Berea at 325. So there's a new scan here coming in. Still seeing that rotation with that storm, but don't want to forget our people to the north, our friends to the north here in Garrett County. Yeah, you're in the tornado warning too, but there is an ongoing storm that is not producing rotation, but is producing some strong straight line winds that's knocking on the doorstep of Lancaster there. I'll flip off the lightning because it really gets messy with all that stuff on there and it gets hard to see what we're trying to indicate. Let me clear off the storm track. See where we've got these brighter shades of green here, right along this whole line here going through basically southeastern Jessamine County, northwestern Madison, back down into Garrett County, approaching Lancaster right now. All along that in that circle is where I'm seeing at least the potential for some strong straight line winds, all right? Maybe 50, 60 miles per hour. Stone, Buckeye, Edenton, down to Teetersville, down to Judson and Three Forks, but it's south of that where we could see a tornado. Seeing more right on top of Roland here. This is Goshen Road, Logan Town, Wilderness Road here, Rigsby Road, Preachersville. This is where, just east now of Stanford, if there's a tornado, it's going to be right here. Cutoff Pike, Roland, Courtier Lane, and then Goshen Road, right here where they meet together, where 150, again, 150 comes into the north side of Stanford, and 150, if you ride it, it takes it all the way down here toward Crab Orchard. All right, so 150, where it meets US 27, just on the east side of Stanford. This is where we could have a tornado, and it's moving due east, okay? Due east, maybe east-northeast at 70. Let me come in and give some smaller communities again and some roads. The Swope Road area. So again, we're still looking at roads that are in Lincoln County. And then over toward Preachersville, you get over into Stingy Creek Road. I'm just giving you some lead time, because see the new scan? Look where I already put it, right there. We're about to cross the rotation into Garrett County. So if you are watching this in Garrett County and you're not in your safe place, you need to do that now. That basement, that interior room, away from windows. So I don't want to forget the other storm that's upstream here. We'll go back to this one in just a minute, but the storm that is coming through Fleming County now, looking at that, the latest relative velocity, storm relative velocity, this has become more ragged again, all right? And what I mean by that is we don't see as much reds and greens next to each other. It's broad, which is an indication, yeah, there's rotation happening aloft above the surface, but it more is going to be kind of a stronger, gustier, straight line wind thing. Yes, that could re-intensify. So until this warning, until that total threat from the Weather Service is over, we'll keep watching that. Sharpsburg, though, even though you're in the warning, any broad rotation is not even on Sharpsburg anymore. It's past that. Carlisle has been trimmed out of the tornado warning. You're fine. You're good. It may be loud there because we still have a lot of lightning here. So thunder, lightning. If we look here at the regular radar, yeah, storming, Carlisle, okay? But the part that they've still got the warning going for is right there southwest of Flemingsburg. So south of Ewing, Battle Run, Hilltop, you're going to get some hail out of this too. Maybe nickel-size hail, maybe up to the size of quarters. We're not seeing that yet. It's not, really haven't been as conducive for hail development, or at least large hail development out of this. Hilltop, Battle Run, Energy Road, Cranetown, let's see, I think that says Branch Brothers Road. Some of these texts are small. Pex Ridge Road over toward Mount Sterling Road. So we're looking in Fleming County. So if there's tornado in that zone, okay, that's where it would be. To be honest, to be perfectly honest here, if they haven't already, I think they need to trim out. Montgomery, Bath County I believe should come out of the tornado warning. Yeah, I don't see anything there at all.
Yeah, well, they've also blanketed a huge area with a new severe thunderstorm warning, too, on top of it. So we've got a couple layers. There's a little bit of rotation when you push the Jackson radar there. It's pretty loose, though. It's just south of Flemingsburg that Justin Logan was just talking about. But if we go back to our full home view, we've got a new, nice, big, large blanket warning for the storms they're sort of re-emerging together, more of in a line. And the Jackson office is responsible for a lot of these counties. And they're just slapping on the full blanket because everybody within there has the opportunity to see those gusty winds, maybe some of that rotation. So just a quick look at what that is for us here with that severe thunderstorm warning now in place for many of our other counties, from everybody in Jackson to Lee County, Wolfe County in that, Menifee, Rowan County in there too. Of course, Bath, even though the severe storm that we just had lifted a bit north, there's still this nice line that is working into, right now, the strongest part of Garrett County and moving towards Madison County this time. And it does have that tornado warning still attached to it. But this goes till 3:45 a.m. Montgomery's in it. Northern Pulaski County seeing its first warning of the morning here. As we've said, these warnings are likely to tap in further downstream as we get these storms to move further east. Again, the southwest to northeast line that these have been going on has been the reiteration of development, but the whole system floating just a little bit east every time starts to cut more of those storms into areas that have been untapped. So everybody in those counties needs to get down into their safe space too. A lot of lead time with this storm. I think the last one I looked at for speed, they're still saying they're pushing 65 to 70, even 75 miles an hour generally. So just the entire thing here. Let's go ahead and see if we can put a tracker on it. And we'll go just from where it begins in Fayette County down through Pulaski County and pull it to the east. If it would hold on one second, and we'll try to get it going here again. We'll get it from Fayette County down through Pulaski County and move it to the east. We'll just call it, say, a safe 65 miles an hour, kind of an in-betweener for all the different ratings we have. Here's where it starts to get into places like out in Berea by 323, starts pushing Mount Sterling by 331 in Mount Vernon, Mount Sterling 333, Clay City 335. So 20 to 30 minutes of lead time for us as we start getting towards the middle and edge of this box. Then you start talking about out in Jackson County by 340, maybe a little bit closer to the end of that warning time as those come in. So everybody now in action here as these storms work to the east into tonight. And again, the meanest part of the storm showing up right now back in Garrett and parts of Lincoln County. They're starting to move in northern Madison County. Are we seeing anything here in Lexington still? There is just a piece of that cell that's sort of working into Fayette County that's still back in that severe thunderstorm warning. They've actually made that one till 3:45 a.m. too. So we've got all these storms going to the same time, suggesting that the progression of them is going to, with that southwest to northeast orientation, still clip these counties over the course of the next half hour to an hour or so. So we've got 2 tornado warnings of note here. We'll touch on the one that's further to the north and east in portions up near Fleming County. Now, again, where we said we didn't see as much of the rotation in there. J-Lo, you'll have to take over again for me. Okay. Things are not quite working on my end again.
All right, I've got the Richmond camera pulled up because we're waiting again for that line of storms to approach Richmond from the west. All right, so yes, it is already raining here as we're looking around the bypass in Richmond from our man dealership, the man dealership there. Definitely turned to rain. You can see the winds picking up a bit, but the strongest portion of the storm is still just off to the west of Richmond. And I'll go back to the radar view here so you can see this is the portion of the storm. It is knocking on the doorstep of Richmond as we speak, and the dealership's just again outside, just onto the southeast side of town here. So it is knocking on the doorstep there. We'll be watching, and I've got our camera pointed the direction of the storms are coming from, and we're watching the storms that are coming out of Lancaster and also the ones in Stanford. I want to go back inside, look inside the winds inside the storm here again. All along this leading edge here, you see that there's some brighter shades of red next to some green here. So I see this where it's more linear instead of more kind of like circular there. This is an indication that this part of the storm is just mainly straight line winds that's coming into Madison County. Strong. Could be upwards of 60, maybe some gusts that get to 70, but it's to the south here that if we have a tornado left, this would be it in Garrett County. Looking here, see a couple little spots, not one circulation that's standing out over the other. It's broad, but if there's a tornado, it would be right here east of Lancaster. So I can zoom in here and give you some smaller communities. So near Paint Lick, near Point Level over toward Lowell, Paint Lick. This is going to be where we would maybe have a tornado. Hackley community, and this is racing east. I mean, I just actually checked it myself. I took the radar back over an hour and put it in fast forward motion for an hour and plotted the distance between, they're running between about 65 and 70 miles an hour. So these things are just racing. This is why we always say that if you're out driving in this, you don't ever want to try to outrun a tornado because they don't follow roads. They follow their own path. And this is racing again at 65 to the northeast. So, you know, I'll just put a track right in this zone here and we'll move it off to the east. 65. Wow, this is just racing. 65 to 70. All right, that's going to be putting that near Buggytown at 323, Ferristown 326, the Whites community at 326, Terrell at 329, Duluth at 332, Dreyfus at 332, and Brassfield at 334. Again, that's broad. There definitely still is intense winds here, even if it's not rotating. It could still do some damage, still bring down trees if you're looking at winds that are 60 to 70 miles per hour. All right, so we still have some other storms upstream here that are further along the line as we work our way into the northern part of Madison County, and then even going up into Clark County and eastern Bourbon County. This is why they blanketed this with a severe thunderstorm warning for this entire line as it keeps rolling off to the east fairly quickly. So everybody along that line needs to be into an interior room and obviously away from windows. Let's go back and look at some of our home view cameras here because I want to give you a perspective of what's really happening in all these areas. So Paris, storming right now, obviously. I know that lightning and that thunder and the wind and the heavier rain has probably woken many of you up. Maybe some stronger winds. I still think the strongest have exited just east of Paris right now. And we can go back to Richmond, because remember, I was watching the line of storms that is coming in to town right now, or around the bypass. Let me kind of pan the camera around. Every once in a while, and the lightning, when it flashes a minute ago, it looked like I could see a shelf cloud, not a lowering from anything like a wall cloud, but a shelf cloud, which is usually an indication on the leading edge of some strong and severe storms. It's a sign that, yep, some severe storms and some winds out ahead of that are helping to create that cloud deck, that wind combining with the cooler and warmer air mixing. All right, yeah, a lot of heavier rain, but the winds really have not picked up at their most intense just yet, but it's on the leading edge of this. Into Madison County. Let's look at Somerset, okay, because this storm, really, the rain still has not made it to the Lake Cumberland Regional Hospital. Even though the northern part of Pulaski County is under a severe thunderstorm warning, we are not at the moment seeing any rain just there. Last one will take you back into Lexington here, and obviously we've been seeing rain, and these storms have been moving through town. Let me see here. It looks like our image may be frozen. Nope, it's not. Things have actually lightened up outside just a bit outside. There's a new flash of lightning off in the distance. Let me go back to the radar view so we could see what we're talking. Big picture. All right, running through a number of warnings. Warnings go from Flemingsburg to Mount Sterling to Richmond to just east of Lancaster, east of Stanford, back down east of Liberty, and it runs all the way down to even Jamestown here. Also includes Somerset, but really the strongest portion of this entire line starts at Lincoln County, and it runs through Garrett, up through Madison, and then up again through parts of Clark County, portions of Bourbon County, and up through Nicholas and Fleming. Okay, so we have several warnings, though, tornado and severe. So let me just clear some of this up for you by turning off some of the lightning. Let me go back inside the thunderstorm. I'm not seeing along this portion of the line through Nicholas and even to Bourbon County, I'm not seeing anything that stands out to me for rotation. And I know that we still have a tornado warning even for Fleming County, but I'm not seeing anything over here that really is screaming, all right, look at me, there is big time rotation here. Some broad areas of that on this back over coming very close to Sharpsburg again. So it's where Bourbon, Nicholas, and Bath counties meet together. There's some very broad rotation here. So there is Sharpsburg as we zoom in. East Union, so that's in Nicholas County here. Smoke Ridge Road, Lower Sharpsburg Road, Upper Sharpsburg Road. There's broad rotation. I still think that's more going to just be gusty winds, but we'll watch that and see if that intensifies. But down the line, look how the wind intensifies a bit for sure as we get into the western Madison, down into Garrett, and into crossing now over into Rockcastle County out of Lincoln County. The standard radar view looks, I mean, you could see it. I mean, just the intensity. Heavy rain, Crab Orchard, all the way up through Lancaster and Berea into Richmond. It is there right now. I'm going to look at some new stuff here. Justin, are you looking at the rotation for that storm on an update out of Garrett County?
Yeah, we're checking in on that. Just trying to follow along with some of those tornado warnings that just came out for Owsley, Esterly, Jackson, Rockcastle, and Lee County till 3:45. But behind that is where that rotation was in Garrett County. That's where the storm is coming from, moving into those new zones, and that's what we need to keep a close eye on here as we roll through tonight. Some notches in there, battling a little bit of technical difficulties, but we'll still be able to get it in line for you here. Just to the west of Berea, now south of Richmond. Again, radar looks relatively strong for us. Lots of purple, red meaning high reflectivity, strong updraft potential there. If we go to the Jackson scene and flip over to the velocity side of things, I'm not seeing anything that would say that there is good rotation within this at this point. In fact, if we go back to the storm relative, it's rather loose. If there was anything that was spinning up to try to make its way down to the surface, we're talking just north of Berea along 75 right now, and likely to cross 75 in that next scan. And you can see it here just north of Berea between 25, 75, and then just a little bit further to the west of that, there's that next scan. And sure enough, it jumped across 75, is now closer to 25, between 75 and 25 for us here, again, north of Berea. Nothing great out of the tightness of that rotation. So to suggest that there is really any serious tornado threat in that at this juncture with this scene on radar, I wouldn't say that there's much going on there except the wind threat, more maybe a straight line wind threat with it. But ultimately, somewhere in this zone between those two roadways, we have some rotation to watch, and it's likely just precautionary. Again, we've been talking about it all morning, that these storms have had that threat of producing some notches, some twisting, some quick rotation. Quite realistically, there could be really quick spin-ups in between scans, even that we won't be able to find on radar. And for that purpose, we need to have those warnings in place, and you need to be in your safe space. And that's why they extended it already from parts of now past Garrett County. Folks in Garrett County, those tornado warnings are still there till 3:45. But Lancaster, Stanford, even in parts of Lincoln, we don't have that threat really in there. You're going to get some heavy rain, loud thunder, maybe some more wind gusts on the backside, but the threat really is now pushing further east. South of Richmond, though, you guys, you're still in it. Stay down. But as we go further to the east now, working into, say, portions of Esterly County, maybe even portions of Lee County there, and then further to the south there in Jackson County till 3:45, that tornado warning's in play. That rotation is working to you. A little further south, maybe Mount Vernon, Broadhead area, not seeing much tightening there either, but that's what we're seeing. You got something new for us over there?
Finally, as the more intense winds have moved into Richmond here on the eastern southeast side where we have our weather camera at the main dealership. Well, let's just take this full for a minute and we can watch this at home. This is the same storm that came out of Garrett County, okay, and through the Lancaster area. We've got there's a Mesonet site over there that had a gust a short time ago of 58 miles an hour. Guess what? 58 miles per hour classifies as severe thunderstorm warning, okay? 58 or stronger, or hail to the size of 1 inch, which is the size of quarters or larger, all right? That constitutes a severe thunderstorm warning. This storm definitely has the capability of producing winds that are up near 60, okay? So that would put it severe, which is why there is a severe thunderstorm warning. But there also is for portions of Madison County, and I'm sure that the sirens are going off there. But again, I want to stress this and take an opportunity to say this. The sirens are for outdoor warning, and don't depend on those, because when it's windy and it's raining and you can hear the hail and the wind and the thunder, you're not going to hear that siren. It's outside. It's meant for people that are outdoors when storms are coming through, okay? So you're not always going to hear those, but they may be going off in Richmond, but there was some rotation that was to the south. That is really weakened. This is still mainly right through Madison County. This is mainly a straight line wind event, all right? Yep. That can do damage. Trees, power lines, it can bring those all down. And obviously, we don't want to be out and about when that is happening. Even though they drew this tornado warning all the way to Esterly and even over into Jackson County and northern portions of Rockcastle County, if I look anywhere along this here, I'm going to pull up another product. This kind of helps me tell the story to you at home a little bit more, looking for a little bit of shear, okay? This is our rotation detector. Anytime you see green, it's in the weak category. Because this is more linear, like a straight line, basically riding up US 125, or 25 rather, and just east of I-75, that tells me more that it is an area of straight line winds. Somewhere along that, we may get a quick brief spin up, but I really think this is primarily straight line winds coming through Madison County right now. And everything that I'm looking at definitely says that. I mean, nothing too intense beyond that. Now, we go north along this line. Again, severe thunderstorm warning, Clark County. Winchester, you've already seen the strongest winds. The strongest winds in Clark County are just south of the city. And they're running right along the Mountain Parkway. we'll just ride this entire severe thunderstorm warning, okay, this entire line. Now we're in Montgomery County. Here's Mount Sterling. Here is where the strongest winds are, 460. This is North Middletown Road. Right along North Middletown Road, you're going to be running into some very strong winds, all right? 50, 60 miles an hour, gusts, all right? So as we go further up the line, see how things start to kind of break a bit, all right? And it's not that solid shade of red or solid shade of green indicating a solid line of gusty winds. Still some strong winds here. Maybe even some broad rotation east of Sharpsburg. But there was a tornado warning there earlier. It's canceled. All right, we only have that one tornado warning to the south, and I'm still not seeing anything that would warrant, at least at this time, tornado. Still strong winds, though. So you need to be still in your safe spot until we can give you the all clear. To the south, though, coming through portions of Rockcastle County and into Pulaski County, this part of the line starts to get weaker. I'm not saying that it's to the point that there doesn't need to be a warning, but it definitely gets weaker. Now, I've turned on the little eye here, and this represents where we have storm reports, okay? Let me turn off the lightning. It is a mess with all that on there. Intense storms, that lightning definitely an indication of strong storms. This is the gust that was I was mentioning that came through southwest of Lancaster at 58 miles an hour at 3:15. So that same storm is now in just east of Berea and east of Richmond. So that's why we're saying it still has the capability of producing winds up to 60 miles per hour and along that entire line. And what I want to do while I've got a lot of you, because I've had some family members ask me, okay, are we done with the severe part where I'm at? Lexington, Paris, Cynthiana, Georgetown, Frankfort, back to Versailles, Lawrenceburg, Harrodsburg, Danville, Liberty, all done with severe weather for now, okay? You're in a heavy rain. You're in getting rain, all right? Now we're going to go over in those areas to potential maybe for some flooding and train of rain. Severe part of this is where you're on the leading edge of this line from, let's say, northwestern Pulaski County. We'll throw on some unities here. That's actually going to be closer to Eubank, absolutely, right on top of it. Science Hill up to Mount Vernon and Broadhead. Some strong winds there, potentially severe. Same story, Berea, and going up into Richmond and back up into Clark County. Justin?
Yeah, and we're just checking in on some of those power outages that we're seeing pop up. He showed the damage reports on there. There were a few that came across. If we were to lay them over where these power outages are now, you'll see that there's been areas where we've had those gusty winds. Fleming County has a few folks without power. Same with up in the Cynthiana area there. Barry, Kentucky had a 58-mile-an-hour wind just a couple hours ago. They're clear for the most part now from the severe winds, but we still have those threats coming in. So, and I expect as we go through the night and more of these storms pop up for us here, that we'll start to get more of these power outages, especially as they start to blow into our more rural areas here in southern and eastern Kentucky. We've got just a few thousand customers without power here in the northern part of the state. Could see some more sprinkle in. Obviously, there was some stronger severe weather further west where they're battling the power outages now. But I just wanted to give you a quick update. Probably a reason why they also lead to throwing out these tornado warnings is because of the history that this day has had, and it's been a historic one at that. We've had some wild tornadic activity further off to the west. Thankful that we haven't had to deal with any of that here, but we still do have those warnings in play to deal with as we roll through the rest of tonight. And of course, we'll have to monitor those as we play out. At least the good news for you is that we aren't seeing anything that really indicates great rotation, and it's that straight line wind event that is in play. Of course, 70-mile-an-hour winds at the surface do just as much damage as if a very weak tornado comes through, so it's just a little bit more widespread. If it is spread out across this entire line, we have that to deal with. So no new warnings have popped up in the last 20 minutes or so here outside of the ones we've had, trimming a lot of that thunderstorm warning activity off back behind us, like Justin was saying, just a rain event now. But if we do continue to monitor what comes next, let's look where things are coming from to get an idea of what could be. Now, we are in the brunt of what we have here, but there's more off back in western Tennessee, and they're following that same line. Now, future radar that we have on here that goes out maybe 2 hours is great. It shows very high definition of what we have currently. We put that into play, and you see this band and brand of severe weather is moving to the northeast, likely exiting, it looks like, after, say, 6 a.m., finally getting out of our viewing area. But then those severe storms that were in western Tennessee are starting to creep up into south central Kentucky. And believe it or not, we still have untapped stuff here further southeast that could help as we get into tomorrow morning, some more potential for severe weather. And I just want to point out, while we are reloading on this here, tomorrow we have a severe thunderstorm outlook still across the good majority. It's actually just been updated. Oh, you know, it's because we're after midnight. So this is going to be actually Friday's severe weather outlook. So I apologize for that. Forgot that was going to flip over. But we do have the threat for severe weather as we go into the next couple days. I'll show you on the 7-day here. It'll have a similar look. Friday, Saturday, both have severe outlooks for us, and even on Sunday, scattered showers and storms last into the morning. We could be talking about those lingering through later parts of the day too, not really drying out until we get into early next week. Now we're talking about our flood problem, and we've showed this map a few times too in terms of the rainfall here for us over the course of the next several days. And as we get that to come through, we're talking about 4 to 8 to some spots maybe even north of 10 inches of rain. Justin, do you have that outlook pulled up for tomorrow?
Yeah, this runs from 8 a.m. today, and it runs through 8 a.m. tomorrow. So they go from 12Z to 12Z, okay? So it's not just during the daytime hours today. So this is the outlook from 8 a.m. today through 8 a.m. tomorrow, and it does still put a level 2 risk here across the area, basically just about all of us, for the potential for maybe some more strong or severe thunderstorms into, it would really be more into the afternoon. I think, again, they would have a chance to recharge once the morning storms move out, is what I'm telling you here. All right, let me go back to the normal radar view. I was looking here from the National Weather Service chat, because we get reports from emergency managers in there too. So as the storms were coming through Jessamine County, Johnny Adams, the emergency manager over there, says that they had several spotters that were out and said that it was some pretty intense rain and lightning and some smaller hail. This was, again, within the last hour, but winds were gusty but not severe at ground levels. So no damage found so far is the bottom line. There is what he says that he's found out of Jessamine County. That's great news, okay? I've been skimming through some of this. Emergency manager Brad Cox for the state of Kentucky says no reports of damage in Mercer County either. 127 roadway is all clear. So I'm skimming back as we rewind and look where these storms have come. Okay, so far no major damage reported. Now out of Taylor County, which is back in Campbellsville, camping trailers were blown over and a roof to a business is blown off on Lone Valley Road in Taylor County. Again, that's outside of our viewing area, but definitely it's the same storm, and guess where that storm's at now? I can track that for you back over the last hour. Look how fast these are moving. Unbelievable. 65 to 70 miles an hour. All right, so here it was at 2:39. So the storm that was going through Taylor County, we can fast forward that, and over an hour, if you watch, it went through Taylor, it went through Casey County, it went through Lincoln, it went through Garrett, and that storm is the one right now that's coming out of Madison and into Esterly County. That is still the strongest storm of the morning. There does remain a tornado warning on that until 3:45. I was checking the Weather Service chat to see if they canceled that. We'll revisit inside the winds inside of this. I still don't see any rotation with this on the front edge of it, okay? But what I do still see, though, is the potential for damaging straight line winds, 60+ miles an hour. And I can query some of these numbers coming into Esterly County. Check that. 70, 60, 70, miles per hour potentially. And we're getting closer to the radar, which is in Jackson. So the radar beam is not nearly as far off the ground into the clouds as it would be if these storms were coming through Lexington. So Irvin, heads up right now. We have a lot of viewers that are over there, okay? I've done many school visits over there at Estill County. Heavy rain starting to move into Irvin right now. Some hail in the western part of the county. We'll get a new scan because this is racing fast. Heavy rain and damaging winds are about to be coming into, or at least potential damaging winds, about to be coming into Irvin here very soon. All right, already in the western part of the county, and kind of see how this line here is almost bowing a bit. And it's basically a backward shaped C. All right, so the winds from the backside of the storm are pushing out, forcing winds and the rain to bow out, okay? Because that structure of the storm is getting forced outward by very strong winds. So into Estill County, that's why I was saying that we could easily see winds 60, maybe upwards of 70 miles per hour. I think that they're going to...
We had 66 mile an hour wind in Richmond.
In Richmond, at the airport.
Yep.
Yeah. 66
miles an hour there, and that's the storm that you're talking about moving in right now.
That is the same storm. You're right. Okay, so, and you know what? We pulled up our camera, our home view down there, and boy, did it look very intense as that storm was coming through. Again, thankfully, Richmond, you are at least out of the severe part of this now. Yeah, a warning may remain, but look at the difference. If you were with us just literally 15, 20 minutes ago, this picture in Madison County, in Richmond, was a different scene. It was, visibility was very low. Winds were just blowing. It was sheets of wind over there. Things have calmed down. So Richmond, you're in the clear of severe weather now. That's good, okay? I'm going to go back to the radar for you, and I want to revisit this and show you still the severe part of this Estill County down into even northern parts of Jackson County. All right, so when you start talking about winds that get 65 to 70, all right, 58 is severe. But when you start getting winds that are 65, 70, 75, obviously, you keep going up. Anytime you're getting stronger winds, straight line winds of 65 and 70 are going to do some damage. That's going to bring down some trees. It's going to have the potential to definitely bring down some power lines. And thankfully, it's still here at night, and people, not nearly as many people, obviously, are out and about yet because people are still sleeping. At least we're not having to travel out to work in 60 to 70 mile per hour winds. But anybody in Irvin, you need to... I would still like people to get out of bed, even though there's not a tornadic threat, and get into an interior room. Because as we saw with the storms from Sunday night that came through the area, we saw the facade of a church in Scott County that was ripped off by very strong straight line winds, okay? That can do that to a home as well. So people in Irvin, you need to be into an interior room away from windows, because if these trees come down, those trees could fall and hit your glass on your windows and then blow those out. So we want you interior room in Irvin, even with it not really looking like a tornado threat. Now, I want to revisit the northern part of this line because the entire line has the capability of producing damaging winds. Let me go back. I want to switch products. You can see this a little bit more clearly when we're looking at base velocity instead of storm relative. See up to the north here, still strong winds going through Montgomery and even Bath, but the winds do weaken a bit actually into up toward Moorhead into Rowan County. But to the south is where still the strongest winds are that are coming into Irvin and coming into Stanton too. So Powell County, Estill County, winds 60, 70 miles an hour are definitely a possibility. And that could even go down as far south as Sand Gap here. Looks like I lost my warnings here. They may have actually just dropped off to the north. We've had some issues here with technology, so bear with me for just a second here. I want to make sure that that is still accurate. Do you still have the warning still, or did it show that it all dropped?
I lost some as well. Expired the tornado warning in Owsley, Estill, Jackson, and Lee. Continues severe for Morgan, Fleming, Powell, Bath, Menifee, Rowan, Wolf, Lee, Laurel, Owsley, Pulaski, Estill, Jackson, Montgomery, and Rock Castle. Those are still supposed to be on there through 3:45. What time is it? Oh, it's right now.
So it's now. But I'm telling you, that is still
reissued.
very intense for them to cancel that storm in Estill County.
I think they'll put another one out there still.
Did they?
No, they haven't yet.
They haven't, but they should.
I think they're working on it. They're having, it looks like, some technical difficulties too.
So it says, National Weather Service, Chuck says, sorry for the double warning in Fleming County, bit of miscommunication, expanding the tornado watch east, 2 tiers of counties. We see that. But in Estill County right now, one of our coworkers, Matt Hall, said that in Irvin, he just lost power.
Okay.
Literally a moment ago. So again, these storms are still very intense on the whole leading edge of this. Let me go back. I want to look at the standard view. I mean, this storm is still very potent. It's coming through Estill County. They've cleared off the warning, but we've seen some strong enough winds that have done some damage with this storm. It's had the history of producing some damaging winds. You know what I'm going to do? I want to look at the mesonet because we have a sensor over there in eastern portions of Madison County. It's near the Madison.
J-Lo, it just popped up.
It just popped up?
Just came back.
Okay, good. That makes sense because I was like, I'm surprised that they would cancel that.
A little slow on the trigger, that's all. A little slow, that's all.
49-mile-per-hour gusts a few moments ago east of Richmond. Now, I know this text says Richmond here, but this is actually 7 miles outside of Richmond. So you're going to be bordering on 7 miles east of Richmond. You're going to get very close there to the Madison and Estill County line. So 49-mile-per-hour gust was there a minute ago, but now the gust is at 31. So it is weakening as we see the strongest winds on the leading edge of that. And Justin also said at the airport there in Richmond it was 66.
Yeah,
so that definitely classifies as a severe thunderstorm. Let me just run down here and throw you all the counties with our current watches and warnings on them. All right, it's 3:48. We'll give you a little recap. Tornado watch is in place for all the counties in light pink. That includes most of our viewing area. But here's what I'll tell you. Anywhere left or west of this flashing orange area, which is the severe thunderstorm, we're done with the tornado threat right now. Okay, we're done with it. They'll be trimming this off, but a lot of times they're delayed on trimming the watches off. The severe threat is over there. Where we have warnings and we're still watching for maybe the potential for some tornadoes that could spin up, but I'm not seeing that right now. But the concerned Fleming, Bath, Rowan, Montgomery, Menifee, Morgan, Powell, Wolf, Estill, Lee, Jackson, and Owsley counties. All those counties have a severe thunderstorm warning at the moment. One of those is massive. It's covering all those counties till 4:30. It's 3:49 right now, so we obviously have less than an hour left on that, and actually less than 45 minutes. So the reason it's more of a short-lived, these are fast-moving storms, still moving east at about 60 to 70 miles an hour. Bath County up here in Fleming County, that warning goes until 4:15. So that one has less than 30 minutes that are still left on that.
J-Lo, they put that thunderstorm warning there in eastern Kentucky, moving northeast at 90 miles an hour. I don't know if I necessarily believe that, but that's the tag they put on it for speed.
I don't.
For the direction it's going.
All right, so we can actually time that out ourselves here. Everybody, though, that is still watching us in those counties that I just called out severe thunderstorm warnings, again, with winds that are gusting 60, maybe 60 to 70. So that would be Frenchburg. It's not there yet, but the stronger winds will be coming here within the next 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Moorhead's getting stronger winds. Owensville, still gusty winds. Mount Sterling, the strongest winds are past you. They're now actually down toward Jeffersonville, and really even south of that is where the strongest are. It's into Stanton. Strongest winds are east of Irvin. It's still gusty there, but the strongest winds are just east of Irvin on the leading edge of this. Now, Behind this, we're still getting some gusty winds here. Now again, some of this is aloft and the radar's reading that, but again, the strongest winds are on the front edge of this. So going from Stanton, as I mentioned, down into near Irvin. What I was going to look at here, I want to go back to our normal radar view, and I also want to show back off to the west that we have a lot of rain that's still ongoing. I want to also pull back up. I want to look at our Richmond camera, and then we're going to kind of traverse through some of these others. Things have definitely quieted down big time here in Richmond, so maybe still some gustier winds there. Lexington, we still have rain, but it is definitely nothing like it was. Definitely still coming down at a moderate clip, though. Somerset, this is our farthest camera to the south. Starting to see that rain begin to show up down there, but thankfully not nearly as intense as what it is up to the north. I want to look at wind gusts from, these are from the main reporting stations. So this was the gust Justin was talking about, okay? These update not as quickly as the Mesonet. So there was that 67 mile per hour gust that was in Richmond, 37 mile per hour gust in London, Hazard 26, Jackson 29. Mount Sterling had a gust of 45. So Mount Sterling and Richmond gusts were within the last half hour because the strongest gusts are both east and southeast of Richmond and southeast of Mount Sterling on the radar perspective here. I'm even really starting to see that this may be weakening a bit within this entire line of severe thunderstorms, which is good news. But still the strongest point is where our radar is flagging that's going through Estill and Powell counties right now. So Estill and Powell counties could be still looking at gusts here. There's a new update. Severe storm moving east-northeast at 64. I think, Justin, that's more like it.
Might
60
have a typo in there. I think the 9 and the 7
90?
are pretty close. Yeah.
Gosh, 90,
that's moving.
That's intense. So the severe storm that's going through Powell County right now, it's on top of, it's pretty much on top of the Bowen community, okay? It's 354. We'll slide down Slade 356. On down the line, Denison 407, Maytown 408, Wellington 408. So that's the most intense storm that we have. Still intense storm, still going through Menifee County, western part of the county. It'll be coming over here into Frenchburg here very soon. I want to look at some other tools that we have here. Bear with me for just a second. All right. I still think that we could see some hail out of this, but I think the hail size here is going to be more on the order of, this is saying maybe up to an inch into portions of Powell County, which again is the size of quarters. I still think predominantly it may be more nickel size. Still, though, we have the potential for some hail with that storm that's coming through the southern part and central part of Powell County. You can see it gives it a 50% chance for severe hail. All right. Severe hail is an inch in diameter, so it's 50 shot that we're at that level. Tops on this storm, it's relatively low top storm, 33,400 feet. All right, that's how tall the storm is building up. All right, some of our strongest storms are when we're talking storm tops that are 50, 60,000 feet. That doesn't mean that the storm still can't be severe and can't produce some strong winds. It can definitely still bring down some stronger winds to the surface, which is why, obviously, we still have a warning that's in place for Powell County, Montgomery County, Menifee, Wolfe County, Lee County, Owsley, Estill, and Jackson, all till 4:30. So we have about 35 minutes left on that. Let me scan through some data here. This is really starting to weaken. I can just tell by looking at the reflectivity, which is what the standard radar we normally show you. That's where we're tracking precipitation. What's the intensity here? See, look at the line itself. Okay, I'll rewind it at about 322. So I mean, we're not even talking an hour ago. Look how thick and solid the line is through Garrett and Madison and Montgomery, and Clark County rather. And then watch as it moves east. See how it starts to become a little more ragged. all right, and things really start to decrease in intensity. Same thing with the winds in it too, but the strongest part of it's still in Powell County right now. You can see that by looking at the radar. It has capability of producing heavy rain, and obviously even some hail is possible there. Look at the lightning, okay? Lightning is an indicator here.
Sorry, just passing the note on there.
Okay.
Moving through, didn't see any new reports or damage outlooks there.
Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. Justin Esterly, folks, has been here since 3 p.m. or so yesterday afternoon. So he's already been here for over 12 hours. We appreciate his work overnight and keeping you guys safe. Look at all the lightning here with these storms, though. That is an indication itself that we're talking about strong to maybe severe storms. An uptick in lightning is stronger thunderstorm. It's often an indication of that. Look where the concentration is, Powell County. Powell County, a lot of lightning there, but I still see that this storm is weakening. We're going to keep a close eye on this, okay? And what I think I'm going to do is we'll get to the top of the hour, 4 o'clock, and we're going to send this back to programming since these storms are weakening, okay? But I'm going to stay with you for 4 more minutes, and if it intensifies even more, we're going to stay with it. Since we've seen some power outages, since we've seen some damage with this back to the west, I want to watch it and make sure that all of the, at least all of the most intense portions of this have weakened out, because we got people that are asleep or just waking up and want to know what's going on. So we'll give you a quick little recap. Back to the west here, Lexington and Paris and Winchester and Richmond, and back down to Stanford, and working our way into Liberty and Somerset, Jamestown, Monticello, all these areas back to the west. Severe threat has ended, okay? Doesn't mean that the severe threat is over for the day. It's over for now. All right, and you're fine to rest easy for a few more hours until the alarm clock goes off and you wake up and get ready to go to work again, okay? Where we're still concerned with the strongest storms are going out of Estill County into Lee County here, over into Powell County and into Menifee and up into Eastern Bath and Montgomery. I'm going to look at some of the mesonet sensors here too to see if we still have any gustier winds that have been on the leading edge of this. This was the main reporting stations, but the mesonet, we have a lot more of those. It is a meso network. It is a concentration, a greater concentration of weather stations across the viewing area. And these winds update every 1 to 5 minutes in our system. So it's definitely more instantaneous than the ones at area airports. Storm, where it's still storming, a gust of 28 in Moorhead, 36 in Owensville. McKee, 26. 23 in Richmond. So again, that is below severe threshold, which is why these storms are definitely on a weakening trend and are going to keep weakening, and which is why we're going to go back to programming here in less than 2 minutes. But what I want to show you real fast is where these storms are going over the next couple of hours, okay? We're going to future radar this out over the next 2, and it takes our storms from where they are and it projects it, okay? So look how that radar really matches up with that well, okay? So then I'll hit play and watch the storms keep moving east, and it still shows them weakening, but behind this, we have some more storms that we'll probably have to keep a very close eye on here that are coming out of Tennessee, but this part of the atmosphere is somewhat worked over. We'll keep an eye on it. Definitely, though, the other threat that we've talked about for days, remember, flooding threat, that it would start with the storms from last night into this morning, and that runs all the way through Sunday. But we are seeing repeated rounds of rain already in some locations this morning that is really beginning to add up some totals. I don't have a quick pull up of our rain gauges from our mesonet sites in here, but what I can tell you is that some areas have already picked up quite a bit, and it is still coming down very heavy. All right, lots of intense lightning to the eastern portion of Powell County into Menifee. Maybe some gusts up to 50 or 60, but it is getting weaker. All right, for meteorologist Justin Esterly, I'm Chief Meteorologist Justin Logan. I'll have a full update for you with news and weather and much more on the news beginning at 5 o'clock. We hope you join us then. Rest easy until then.